Are you there, Ed?
Ed, are you there?
Oh, you guys, just 1 second. There's something going. Oh, there you go. Never mind. It's going.
Nice.
Can you hear us, Ed?
Ed, are you there? Oh, I don't know if we're getting anything from Ed.
Make sure you're not muted or anything from restarting the meeting. It seems like it was a little funny today. While they figure it out, Jordan, what have you been up to the last few days? Any cool tattoo projects that you've been excited about?
Yeah, I've had some really cool geometric pieces that I've started lately. Yesterday, I started this. Yesterday, the consultation day, the day before, I started this really cool shoulder piece. That was a really badass piece. I'm really happy about, but we didn't finish it. We're getting there. But yeah, sorry. This muting thing has just got me on. It looks like it says someone's muted. I'm not sure.
We should let Sandy deal with that. Let her figure that out while we do our show.
Yeah, let's do that.
So let's talk about the tattoo that you were working on. You
awesome.
Got distracted and stopped talking about
it.
It's
hard to. It's just hard to focus when.
It's okay.
It's like that.
Ed'll be joining us in a minute. They'll get it figured out.
Sweet, awesome. That's why it's awesome to have Sandy around. We love you, Sandy.
Thanks, Sandy.
So yeah, what a cool piece that I started the other day. Super awesome client. She was definitely a good sport. We did this big shoulder. I want to say it's a mandala, but it didn't really have the edges of the mandala. It was more like a centralized geometric design. So like basically a mandala without seeing like the edges kind of it. And there was some, I don't know how you explain it, just some like flowy lines that kind of broke it apart. And just a fun little geometric piece. Oh, got the camera on. So I was moving my hands like this, mandala, and then kind of like over the shoulder, kind of just like warps down into this cool little like lotusy point thing. So negative space. And then on the top of it is like this almost like lotus petal that's got some of the mandala in it, but that doesn't really describe it at all. I mean, that's not going to give you the
Do you have a picture of it?
I do.
I'm putting him on the spot.
It's on my
Show
phone.
us a picture.
It's on my phone, so we'll see if we can do that.
Well, I got the handy dandy camera. It was turning out really cool. I liked the way that like 2/3 of it looked like like a Mendy fractal pattern, but the top looks like a window. I really like it. It's gonna be cool. Yeah, this camera looks great on there, Jordan.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so that's what we did. I guess that kind of makes it make a lot more sense.
Is this going to stay all black, or are you going to bring color into this one?
No color, but we will work in some neutral grays. So once I get all the black work done, then I'll go back through and do some neutral grays in like some areas that I've kept open, just to bring a couple different gradients in it, but still keeping it like black and gray.
Yeah. Any other cool ones you've been plugging away on that you're excited about?
Oh yeah, I do so many cool pieces. It's almost hard to remember. What else have I worked on lately?
We got to get our pictures out. I liked listening to you working on her. I didn't even realize that her husband was the glass mechanic.
Check this one out right here. So this is one of my favorite ones I've been working on for a long time. Finally got her to come back in after probably about a year or so. Let's see. If one can. Definitely not going to really do it justice. I should have sent Sandy some pictures. Maybe I'll do that later to bring them up.
That's turning out so good. Do you have a video of that?
Yep.
Show us the video. This is how we really talk to each other all the time. We can only like show each other stuff with our phones. The life of a tattooer. It looks so good.
Thank you. Yeah, that's one of my favorite projects I got going on right now. We finished up what we had. We finished up what we had left to do on that, and now we're going to continue with the rest of the leg sleeve.
I like the way you took like the cybernetic mandala and you're doing it in color, and it looks like it's like radiating this energy from the middle, and it's all just because you've gradiated instead of doing it in all black. I think that's a really cool. I
used like 3 different blues for that too, or 3 or 4 different blues to make that.
Yeah, all the same tricks, but just adding a whole different layer by incorporating color like that. Yeah, I like it. I like when you do color geometric work.
Thank you. I was pushing away from it for a little while because I was really just enjoying the black and gray, but man, do I love having like a solid, warmer, cool color. with my black and gray pieces. I really do love it.
I actually did some black and gray this week. I'm working on a Batman sleeve. I did a Harley Quinn piece. I'll show you guys how busted my phone is here in a second. Ed returned. He's connected. Audio should hopefully be working. Are you there, Ed? Can you hear us?
We see Ed. Ed, can you wave at us if you hear us?
Wave at us, Ed. We still got no sound on Ed.
Aw.
I see Sandy's muted. I see Ed. Doesn't look like he's muted. Oh, I really want to talk with Ed about his collection today.
It's connecting.
This is going to work. Universe wants us to talk. Connecting audio. Golden. We're almost there. I kind of
We
like
lost that camera as well.
I kind of like the artistic angle of the green glow underneath.
Right. Sorry, everyone, for our technical difficulties. Still getting everything down.
Okay. Well, we're going to just wait till we can hear Ed pipe in. Ed, when you can hear us, just join the conversation, and we really want to include you.
Awesome. Do you maybe want to send like his phone number to Sandy so they can communicate?
I just have his Instagram.
Oh.
Nice. This would be the time where, like, if we had thought ahead enough, we don't put up any music, because then there we go.
Hey, I hear noises.
I hear a voice. Ed, there you are.
Ed, hey man.
Hey, what's going on?
There we go.
Hey, awesome.
We got it figured
So
out.
happy to have you on, man.
It took me a minute to figure out that sound, but it's all good now.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's all right. We've had to overcome those humps too. We definitely have plenty of technical difficulties on the road here.
We call those technology demons.
Yeah.
So we just got to be stronger and smarter than the technology demons. It's meant to be.
Cool. Well, thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, absolutely. You have an amazing collection of work.
All right. Thanks, man. Thanks. I appreciate it. It's been a long time working on it.
Yeah. So how many years have you been collecting now?
Shit. It's been about 8 years.
Oh, wow.
years.
Okay.
Since
You've
I
gotten a
started.
lot in a short amount of time.
Well, I guess let's
Yeah.
also, yeah, that's a lot in a short amount of time. But also, let's start from kind of the basics. Where are you from, Ed?
I'm from New Jersey. Yeah.
Is that where you're at right now?
Yeah. We've been living here most of my life. Oh, my whole life. Yeah, pretty much. So, being close to the city, you get access to some of the, a lot of big name artists coming through the city and whatnot. So that's how I got most of it.
Yeah, taking advantage of when people are coming through.
Yeah.
You get worked on at conventions often?
Not often. I have done my fair share of them, but I'm not crazy about getting work done at conventions. It's I'm more the roam around, talk to everybody, meet and see more collectors. If I book sessions at shows, then it's pretty much taking up all my time. So I don't really, not too crazy about that.
Yeah.
That's the cool thing about the conventions. I just love the atmosphere, the talk, watching people work. Especially people don't get to see. You can go into the local shops and see and talk to people, but it's not the same when you're seeing people from all over the world and get to see all kinds of different points of views and what they're doing, artistic styles and the way they tattoo. It's just crazy.
Right.
We always talk about the family reunion aspect of it. Like, as a tattooer and as a collector,
Right.
It's kind of like
As a
you can see
tattooer,
other collectors, you can see other tattooers. Kind of like,
It's like, that's where I get to see all the homies. That's where I get to see all my friends again. That's where,
Yeah.
there's, I don't know. I feel like as a tattooer and a collector, it's just such a great place for community. You meet so many people. You start getting to know artists. You start getting to know collectors and stuff. And
you
You
get to
start-
see
then
like
you
a
start
whole
seeing the
worldwide
same
community under one roof.
you start seeing the same people at each convention. and you build relationships with those people, but you only see them at conventions. So it's like such a great like family reunion every time.
Yeah, that's why COVID's been rough. A lot of my
Yeah.
best friends I didn't get until within the last 10 years because of conventions and tattoos, and when you're growing up, you find it harder and harder to find good friends, for sure. And then like once I started getting into this community, I realized how open everybody was to everybody's opinions and styles, and just you're treated as part of the community as opposed to an individual. So
Yeah.
I think
It-
it's amazing, like with all the stigmas in the tattoo community, that the more involved I've become in it over the last several years, that just like what he's saying, the more quality people there are, when like, I don't know, maybe it just takes like a certain quality of character to like sit and endure the kind of pain that we have to do. But like, I don't know many like heavily tattooed people that aren't just like awesome, down to earth, super chill kind of people. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
mean, there are like, the people that are covered with like street work and stuff like that. But I'm talking about like collectors that really like are collecting pieces, and they're sitting for hours and hours and hours with their artists, and they're like really earning these pieces. Like,
yeah.
it just makes for cool people. Like only cool
Yeah.
people want to do that
Right.
stuff.
I feel like those things just kind of tend to develop your personality a little bit. However they do. I don't know.
I mean, every so often you
too.
do come across someone who's like super conceited, thinks he has all the best work in the world, and
Right. Because as you were saying that, I was
And-
kind of starting to
and-
think that a little bit. There are some
Yeah.
of those people out there.
yeah, I mean, I'm not one. I don't judge. Yeah, there's going to be bad artwork and bad decisions, and people that want stupid things. But you know what? That's their choice. And if I've taken or tried to take all these years of collecting and try to share my knowledge and ways of healing, and how to go about the research and getting the things that you really want to do, as opposed to just looking at something saying, oh, I want that. Well,
Right.
but you find out that's what a lot of people want, and you just got to give them what you want, for sure. So I know you guys are artists, so you see it from both sides.
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely both of those people out there, but we definitely love the people that really respect the art and are coming to it with humble and there for art, there for awesome artwork. And
Yeah. So we'll get conventions back hopefully this year.
Right.
Hopefully. Yeah, we're really looking forward to traveling again, and I feel so cooped up. This is like the longest period of time I haven't traveled.
Yeah, it's crazy that it's becoming normal, and it's like a normal thing that we're like not at a convention every other month, or like the opportunity for a convention every other weekend is not there. Where you're watching all your friends at conventions. I'm always, I'm always like, if I'm not at a convention and I'm looking at half of my friends or my tattoo artist friends who are at a convention somewhere, back when COVID,
Rooting for them, even if you're
COVID.
not there.
Right. Rooting for them, or being like, dang, I wish I was there. That's awesome. But now it's just like silent. Like it's just normal that conventions don't happen. Every artist is just kind of like doing their thing. We got some people that are doing like a lot of this like Zoom type stuff, and that's involving the community. And I love that. And I see that, and I see reinventing. And then I see a few other different sects of tattooers around the world that have their own like Zoom community like this.
I can't wait till we can just go live all weekend for a whole convention. Like, oh yeah, that's the
that'd be so cool.
CP booth over there. Go talk to him. Go show your work off. Like,
right.
I can't wait for that day to come. It's gonna be like, instead of like Zooming with you, we could like sit down and talk for an hour and drink coffee together, and we can record that,
Right,
and then
getting,
we
like,
can share it
4K
later
of your
on.
images of your tattoo and
Like,
showing those
I
off.
can't wait till we can just like see each other. I can't wait for van episodes.
Yep.
Those are going to be pretty epic.
Fan sessions.
We need to start planning a road trip is what we need to do, because I feel cooped up, and I feel like you're probably as cooped up as I am.
Oh,
yeah. I always need to travel.
I've been trying to take this, the last few months or year or two, just get more involved on Instagram, meeting more people on there. So a couple of group chats with some of the guys, and just again seeing their artwork and their way of thinking. It's not the same when you're just sitting out talking to somebody and get to look at some pieces while you're talking to them, and get to click on links and things like that. But again, it's not the same. And
Yeah.
going into shops is, I did manage to get in 4 sessions over the pandemic, so that was cool.
That's awesome.
But yeah, still feel disconnected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually going to ask if you had any projects in progress. What have you had worked on most recently?
Well, recently I just finished my Evan Olin piece on my side. That's the Red Riding Hood with the wolf.
Oh, it's a beautiful
So,
piece.
Yeah,
I don't think I had even seen pictures of, I've seen a lot of your other collection, but I don't think I had even seen any progress photos of that until you sent them in. And that's pretty
yeah.
impressive.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Evan and I pretty much kept it secret of
Okay.
what was going on. He wanted to just finish it and be done with it, and then take his time. So we finished in October, beginning October, and he didn't show it until like Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So he
right.
took his time. He took a little time from social media just to get his shit in order, and then he posted a bunch of stuff that he hit, and they're all big heavy hitter pieces. So he's an amazing guy, amazing artist, and
Has he done a few pieces on you?
Yeah, I have 3 pieces he's worked on for me, and one of them was the collab that he did at Philly 2019 with Mike Caro. So that was a cool. That was an awesome experience. That was something. I have 11 pieces by Mike Caro, and he did a lot of my zombie work on my Batman, Superman, Green Lantern on my thigh, and then he also did my Terrifier piece, my Art the Clown. I don't think I sent that to you guys, but that's on my Instagram.
Nice.
One of my favorite pieces for sure. It's killer, and so when I set him up with talking with Evan, and they were like, "Yeah, we need to do a collab." I was like, "Dude, do it on me. I'm down." So they came up with this crazy, witch idea with like a poison apple with a skull in it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
So
He's turned out beautiful.
That's so badass.
we
I
got
can't
that
wait to start
done.
shuffling through your photos on here, showing them off.
Yeah, and then he also did my 4-eye Evan. So that was a killer, because like every convention I would show it out often, and people are like twisting their head trying to figure out what the hell they're looking at. Like we don't even know.
It kind of messes with my brain when I look at it a little bit. Like when I look at anything like with 4 or 6 or 8 eyes, it kind of messes with my brain. But that one is so like believable. You really think your eyes are glitching out on you, and you got to like pause and look at it.
That's awesome. I gotta bring it up over here too.
So yeah, I'm all about letting the artists do their thing. I always collab with the artists. I never just sit there and be like, "Hey, this is exactly what I want." It's usually like, "What are you thinking?" And come up with a concept, and then we throw ideas back and forth, and then I let the artists do their thing, because that's all I do. I do the research. I make sure I'm picking an artist that I can trust their style and their work, and I don't have to worry about the outcome. So as long as I know, what the means is, then I trust their judgment, and I know they're going to kill it. So
isn't
Nice.
it cool
Very
how
Hell yeah.
much easier that process becomes once you have like started to build a relationship with that artist? Like once you've gotten one piece from an artist, it's almost like clockwork getting a second piece, and then the third piece is even easier to like get into each other's imagination. Do you agree?
Yeah, to a point. I still find it difficult to find, like, because as space gets limited, you're like, what can I do next? But I don't want to just get anything. You want to make sure it's almost perfect, but it's always going to be hit or miss. And I'm sure there's some pieces on me. They're not perfect, and obviously they don't appeal to anybody else but me. And I know that the hard way. When my my daughter hates my tattoos.
How old's your daughter?
12.
Okay.
Yeah.
She doesn't like them.
Yeah.
Oh no, she hates them. She hates them. So I'm like, I know I can't appeal to anybody. Anytime I show anything off, it's like, yeah, you might not like it, but that's okay.
But then I guess then you get the crowd like us. When I see a piece like that, my jaw's just like on the floor, and it's so fucking awesome. Like there's such amazing pieces. Like
you're seeing it
technically and in so many ways.
Artist side too. Like the application and how how hard it is to get that
Right.
depth.
But even the
And,
image, but even the imagery, and like, it's just, I don't know. I love it. So inspiring.
I
yeah,
see
I
the
was,
paintings
I always
behind you.
wanted something that was, not expected, not something you're going to see every day. You're going to want to, hit you like a rock when when you see it. Something
Right.
that's gonna like, damn, wow, okay. So yeah. I mean, I like dark art for sure, but there's a lot of dark art that is too. I love it for sure, but I'm not gonna get not every artist is for me. There's a lot of things out there that are too dark for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep looking at the work over your shoulder, the paintings that you've got hanging, and like
Oh yeah.
that in combination with the tattoos that you've sent over for us to look at, it like there is definitely a very distinct style that like you can tell like you're chasing, and like a specific like dark surrealism rather than like gore or gruesome just for the sake of gruesome. It all like has a surreal, uncomfortable element, and I think
exactly. I don't want like like the super gore, the the full blood element. Though I love horror movies and I love that stuff, it's great. But I like it to be thoughtful, something you see and you have to actually like look at it and really take it in. And again, it's all for me. It's not really for anybody else. So if I lived for anybody else, then I wouldn't be where I was. So
Right. Exactly.
that's the best part of it,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I actually didn't start. I wasn't collecting art for many years. I just started again recently. So like, I mean, you see like my Zach Dunn pieces I have over there. That's one of my newest ones. I love that one, the Banshee.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, that's an original.
Who's that?
That's
Who did
Zach
that?
Dunn. Zach Dunn.
Okay. Nice.
He also, the Prince. The middle one is what's his name again? I can't remember. Shadow Myths Art. I can't remember his name. I got that at I think Philly 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, it just he paints so subtly. It's just mostly like a lot of misting, and you have to basically figure out what's in the picture for yourself, because you can see what he's trying to do, but it's not necessarily exactly what the story is. So I love that about it. That picture just grabbed me right away. That's that one in the middle. And then
just kind of like
Javi Atunes did the that's the the girl holding her brain in her hand.
That's awesome.
So similar, it's like anxiety and depression. So it's like almost like you want to rip your head out of your skull. So.
Man, I could interpret it totally differently.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the best part about.
I could interpret it totally differently.
Part about dark.
But
art.
that's why like dark art, but like surreal art. Like when it's like just art from another realm. You just want to believe it exists when you see it, whether you understand what was intended or whether you're like building your own idea for it. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I never really was into the like art paintings before because I didn't like physical things as much. That's why I went with tattoos. If I was going to collect art, I was like, might as well collect it on me where I can see it all the time. But then I started to dabble a little bit into some art. So this is my mini gallery.
Your mini gallery.
Yeah. I have another Zach Dunn piece up in my bedroom. But that's another one of my special pieces. It's a nice big one. Yeah. So I don't know what's next for it.
It's so crazy. I love how my life's evolving. Like I'm not only covered in my favorite art, with my tattoos, I'm not only covered in it, but you've seen how my collection's growing at the studio and at my house. Like I'm just surrounded by art and the energy from the artists who made it. Like I feel like there's just something about like I mean, I always talk about how looking at a piece of art on the wall is like looking at a window, but it really does change the energy. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
completely. I mean, just in general, have a white wall and then put a beautiful beautiful piece of art up on that white wall. So have the white wall for a year and then have a year of having the other one and see what it's like. It's
right.
totally different. Like there's so much
Absolutely.
energy. It's such a little window.
Oh yeah.
I just love
Right.
how art influences my space. And it's almost like that becomes, I don't want to say it's an addiction in itself, but it's like, well, what else wants to come home with me? You know, what
Mhm.
else wants to sit on the wall next to, you know, these other ones, you know?
It's also a fun part about going to shops is, you know, like Evan has walls of art, and he has Jed Likeness and Dimitri
Mhm.
Simoin, and you know, pieces that you would never get, and he managed to get some of them. So, you know, going to a shop and looking at that, it's, you know, for him, it's got to be, you know, it, helping him, giving him ideas, and you know, just pushing him along in his craft every day. You know, but then there's other shops, like I love what's it called, Paul Acker's shop.
Mhm.
You know, that place is a Seance. It's all, again, it's just like dark art, and you know, everything all over the place. It's just, you know, he's got like skeletons, a coffin. It's just so cool, and the
That's really
lighting.
cool.
Yeah, I mean, a
I
lot
love
of the
those
shops, the
macabre
modern
spaces.
shops.
Right.
I feel like at Red Tree, we're lucky. We've got a good mix. Everything's pretty high tech. We've got really, you know, nice, clean spaces. But we've got so much art between
it's
like Derb's collection
full-on
and like
gallery.
all of our own collections that
We're
we've
looking
brought
for
in.
wall space for if you want to put something on the wall, it's hard to find the space.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so nice to be just surrounded by it. And like you mentioned, just having all of that original art to influence the art that we make. You know, like we talk about Adam and Guy all the time and how much they influence us, but we're lucky enough to be surrounded by their original work and their prints all the time, because Derb has so many in his collection. And then you start adding the ones that we have from our collection that we've brought to the studio, and it's just like eye candy and inspiration and color theory and paint application from like all of the most amazing artists.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like
Every day, whenever I'm looking for inspiration, that's exactly what I do. I just go walk around the studio and I'll just look at different paintings and just kind of.
I feel like you'd be hard pressed to find an art school that has more amazing and diverse original art than we have in our studio.
Anytime I have a question
like-
and I'm like, how do they like? I just need to see how an edge is done like this, like on a painting or something, and I'll just go walk around and look at like 15 different amazing artists.
Mhm.
You
And
know,
then
and
you
how
just
they do
saw
things.
15 different ways to do it.
Exactly.
15 different
So as an
answers to
artist,
choose
it's
from.
Like, it's like a temple. It's great.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And eclectic. The eclectic is the other amazing thing.
And that's why I always, any of our clients who come in, I'm always trying to tell them, you know, like, it's cool. Go walk around. Like, I'm like, you can go walk to the back of the hall. It's totally,
yeah, I'll
totally
walk
cool.
my clients through.
Don't walk in anyone's room, but you can check out the art.
I've got my Ink and Dagger shirt on today. Russ's collection down at his studio is pretty amazing and totally different from ours. He's got such a totally different, eclectic, and diverse group of artists. So it's really cool to see just like different flavors mixed together in all the studios, you know, like.
Yeah, and you know, back to what you said about conventions, you don't get that per se, like the ambiance, by getting work there. So going traveling around and going to different shops and studios, you actually get to see like where they get their inspiration from, and you know, the people they work with, the shop managers, you know, that they all bring everything to the experience.
Exactly. You get to
going
the
to a
solid
convention.
experience.
Yeah, you're sitting in one booth. You don't really get that necessarily. It's a different atmosphere for sure. So
Right.
I
You're
mean,
getting like
some
a
people
chunk of
feed off
a chunk of it, as opposed to like you might get like just as good of a tattoo, but the experience in general, you know, if you're going to go to their shop, it's going to be decked out with the way that they want to work all day, the way that, you know, their client, you know, most good artists are going to like have client comfort in mind, you know, so you're going to have like a few amenities and things. Even if you don't, you know, it's just going to be a little bit more comfortable in general at the studio.
Yeah. Man, it's always unique laying there in a table or sitting there and everybody's walking by you looking at what you're getting. And, you know, it's, you know, just
Right.
random, random, like, okay, there's another passerby, another passer. You know, it's like,
right. People just come by, stare at you for 10
How
full
many
minutes,
people-
don't say a word, walk
We
away.
should start making a game when we're getting worked on at a show. How many people ask, does it hurt? Like we should start like a pool. Like, okay, it was 154 people. Who was closest? And have some kind of like game.
Does
Keep
it
track
hurt?
of it.
Does it? No.
yeah, yeah.
Ooh, that must hurt. That counts as a question.
It always hurts. Every time.
Exactly.
They
Yeah,
all
when you
lie.
keep finding a new
All
spot,
lied.
you're like, yeah, just of course it's gonna hurt. You just gotta suck it up and deal with it. Yeah.
Right. I can't ever lie to people. I'm never the kind of person that's gonna be like, nah, it's not so bad.
Oh no.
Like,
People will
it's
be
like-
like, what you look like a champ. It's like I feel dead.
The cool,
So
my I think I've come to the conclusion that the rule is the cooler the tattoo, the more it's gonna hurt, and you just gotta accept it.
yeah.
It's just
Unfortunately,
yep.
To get the
I don't know if it's
Like
black
I
and
have to
gray, it's
accept it.
not
Like
as
I'm
bad.
because that's how I feel like on my back piece that I'm getting work done. Like that's where I've had to accept it the most is getting my work done. It's just like, oh, it's full coverage, and then it's full coverage again, and it's full coverage again, and just layers over layers.
It is nice with black and gray because you're a lot more likely to be like one and done, or maybe just like another little like nick and ding pass where it's like real light and quick and not super brutal.
I wish everything was a forearm. That would be nice. My forearms, I felt like nothing, so that was great. But they're
Yeah.
just about done. I got a couple little spots I can fill, but that's about it.
Right.
I'm saving my arms for last, but every time I get work done
Oh,
on
you
my
don't have
torso, I feel like I've got my hand done and like a little guy on the back of my arm, but I'm saving my arms just because I've got ideas and they haven't presented themselves. But anytime I'm getting work done in a horrible spot, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to get my arms done. I can't wait to get my arms done.
Just saving the easy stuff for last.
Not deliberately,
Right,
just
right,
like
but
the artist
it's
I want to
still
do this
in
arm
the
is all
back
the
of
way
your-
in Russia.
That's
so
the way it's gonna be in the back of your head because you got
Oh,
your
jeez.
list. And so like you're just eventually gonna kind of.
yeah, I mean,
So
My
it's
torso's
still
almost
something to
done.
look forward to.
I've got one more piece and my torso will be done. So that's like all the hardest stuff checked off the list.
Yeah, it's like
Jordan
most of
said that's
most of my collector friends are waiting for artists to come over. They really because there's so many good ones out there, and they're just getting more and more, and they're starting to want to travel, and they can't right now. So that means people are starting to really want to start making more trips again. They'll get there. They'll get there. I wish I could do it too, but I'm not looking to go over anywhere. Not right now.
Oh, I
I'm
feel
getting
like it's gonna
limited
be a
in
while.
my space. Limited.
Yeah.
I got my torso. I got my side. A couple of filler pieces. That's pretty much my feet.
What was
like
it
that.
like the day you looked in the mirror and you were like, whoa, I need to slow down. I'm running out of space.
When I started thinking about who else I would want work from, it's like, I want to give them a nice chunk of space. And I'm like, I really don't have it. I mean, because I'm not going to do multiple artists on my back. If I was going to do my back, I'm going to do one. I'm the same on the torso. Like the side, I can probably fit two. I have my knee. I have a couple of gaps. My next appointment I have is with Danny Lepore.
Where's he out of?
He's in Jersey now. He was at Paul Acker's shop. He's also worked with Carl Grace and
Okay, excellent.
so he's again another dark
Dark
artist.
Yeah.
So it'll flow perfect. I got to fill my elbow and some gaps on my arm here. So he's going to do all that in May. So besides that, I really don't have anything set yet. Just biding time. I got a couple ideas.
Yeah.
I've hit up a couple of artists that we were talking. So when it all comes together, it'll come together.
Nice. Have you so how was your healings always go really well with all your work? Have you ever had
Pretty
any bad
much.
healings or anything?
Yeah, I'm aftercare is like a big subject of mine because I've tried so many different methods. There's a lot. It really comes down to, the person and the area and what type of tattoo it was. You know, you have to take all that into consideration. So, you know, when I started, I was starting with just trying to use lotion and, you know, it took me a little bit to find my groove. The first piece I ever healed with a derm was my Paul Acker zombie. And he had never used derm before either. So it was kind of, you know, I was just like, hey, I got this stuff. I want to try it. You okay? You want to do it? And he's like, yeah, I've never put it on before. So that was an experience. That was like 2014 or something.
So what are
like
your
that, 2013.
So if you were to, like, after all the different things that you've tried, if you were to just give a blanket aftercare advice, what would your advice be?
First, keep it clean, you know, keep it covered. And there's things I say do not do ever, and that's don't leave saran wrap on it. It's wash it, clean it, and, you know, take care of the area itself as best as you can. I mean, my go-to now is Tattoo Armor, which is it's an absorbent pad. Basically, like it's called in Europe, it's pretty much referred to as the diaper method. It's something that's been around for a long time. It basically absorbs all the plasma for the first few days, and it keeps from pooling and staying wet. And to me, I found that anytime I had a problem with any of my tattoos when I had a derm on, is because it would stay wet in certain areas. And then that area always struggled to heal properly. Even though 90% of it would be fine, I would still struggle with that little part that it stayed wet.
Right,
so
those
constantly,
little bubbles that would come out the plasma.
Yeah, and if you live in a warm climate, you sweat more. You're going to have more pooling. So it's, you know, it's vital for the healing process. So, you know, so yeah, I mean, I healed my last Evan piece. That was 4 days, 25 hours. And I did it all with the pad. And it was amazing heal. It healed perfect, no scabbing. And it was on the ribs. So there was no damage to the skin.
Nice.
You know, something like that.
I've heard a lot about those types of wraps. Not the Tattoo Armor in particular, but I've never switched to them as an artist myself. But I have worked with a couple people that started using them that really liked them, and I always liked the idea of it. I'm definitely I like Saniderm for my smaller pieces, but I also like just open air heals for you know, bigger stuff, so I don't have, you know, big pieces of wrapping around large body parts. It seems to cause like a lot of irritation with, like, if I Saniderm like a whole chunk of arm or something. And so it's like a whole forearm, or even if I did a whole arm, it's just like an absolute no because of yeah, what happens is like, have you ever noticed like the wrinkles you get? Like, you'll get in areas that bend a lot, you'll get the little wrinkles that'll like pop up into, like, you'll get the little pockets of skin that come up, and so it just goes up and down of skin. You know, you get these little S's of it, and computer screen's being weird, but yeah, those areas would always just get like really just really irritated, and it would end up like causing like a really weird razor burn in the areas where you had to like shave. And so if those razor burned areas would get caught up in those little pockets, it's like I would get like little tiny and not infections, but it was almost like razor burn if those one little
irritated follicles.
Right, each irritated follicle would get its own little baby infection. So I just have all these little pimples everywhere on my own skin, and like I was noticing that with some clients who would have it on larger pieces, and so I just stopped doing it with larger pieces and was experiencing it myself and didn't like it, you know, with multiple different artists, kind of the same thing.
Yeah, I've seen all kinds of different, I mean, that's why I kind of strayed away from the derms. I used it for so many years, but I've seen the good and the bad. And the bad, I never wanted to deal with. You know, like, there's got to be, I was like, there's got to be a better way to do it that you can eliminate the bad stuff and, you know, get really good heals out of it. And, you know, with color saturation, you really want to cover it somehow. You know, if you have full color saturation when the skin took a lot of trauma, then you don't want it to. I mean, unless you're comfortable with the scabbing and you can deal with that. But, you know, the ways with the derms and the pads really eliminates a lot of that scabbing.
Right.
By letting it heal.
Yeah. You know what really sucks is when you're pulling the derms off, if it's got like a nice solid stick to your entire tattoo, you know, and it's not all wet. Like there wasn't much plasma. And so now you got a Band-Aid stick to your entire tattoo. Like I've had to pull those off myself on, you know, on my own tattoos, and like on Adam's
You
piece.
realize how bad it hurts up
It
in
was
the
kind of a
armpit.
nightmare, and it had me thinking, like, I've never pulled one of those off, and that was the hardest time I've ever had pulling one of those Sanoderms off myself. And also it had me thinking, if my tattoo was half as healed as it was, I feel like it would have fucked my tattoo up. It would have seemed like it would have been worse than scratching at my tattoo, because it was just like, it was so adhered.
I'm not gonna say don't use it, but I feel like it's not appropriate for all tattoos.
Right.
It's not, and now they do the test.
Down to it.
They do the allergy tests. So they put like a strip on you while they're tattooing you to see if you're allergic to it. I'm like, it just seems silly that there's products out there that you have to do that for. You know, like that's why I was like, there's got to be other ways to do this.
Do you like to moisturize before you put the Sanoderm on? Like moisturize it so it doesn't stick to the tattoo first? Because I do know some people
did early
do
on.
both. They go back and forth. Some people will not do that.
I wash it, dry it, I let it air dry for a little bit, and then I put the derm on.
Right, so you get that solid stick.
Yeah. Again, I've gotten away from it now, so I don't think I'll go back, because it just more. I felt it was more invasive.
Yeah.
You know? Plus, I've seen like dark rims from when you take it off, where you have like an edge around
and stuff.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, I'm not a fan of that stuff.
Yeah.
So now I go with the pads.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I got a lot of my collector friends. Yeah, I've reached out, because I'm actually working with them now, trying to get them into the United States starting out. So I got a lot of good big artists that have been using it for me.
Oh, sweet. That's awesome.
Just a little plug. There it is right here.
No, that's awesome. Show it to us. Can you open it up and show us what you're talking about?
Yeah. So
it's like the chicken pad technique, right? Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I like that. See, it sounds way more comfortable. Very comfortable.
It is. It's super comfortable. It's like I got 8 to 10 hours on my ribs, and I wore this to bed, and I was able to sleep. So it just pretty much wraps around, and then just tapes tattoo armor. Tape it into place. Yeah, it's called tattoo armor.
I always used when I called them chicken pads, but they were like half that size, so they were kind of a pain to like tape together and get to stick to your tattoo. But I never had any single bad reaction with them whatsoever. I just kind of got away from it because it was a pain. But those are like twice as big, and like he just wrapped that around his arm in one piece. So
right?
Just
does it have a stick? Does it have a stick
and then
on
tattoo
it?
tape around it,
or you just throw some Scentsy wrap around it? Or
no, you put some ointment on or butter, and then you wrap that around it, and then you just tape it into place.
Right.
Yeah. And then you're going to take it off every like 4 to 6 hours and clean it, because as the plasma start to pool up, it's going to
it's like you got to dress your wound, like type of
you don't have to do it constantly. Yeah,
it's like the first 2 days.
Clean it off. Yeah, pretty much 2 days.
Yeah. I don't disagree with a single thing you've said, sir.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I honestly
a lot of people
that on my tattoos when I travel.
Yeah, the last, almost like 10 years, it's all been, derms have broken into the mold. There was never derm before that anybody used. And now that it's out there all over, it's, again, it's going to be another mold that needs to break. It's not like I said, it's not a bad product. I've used derms for so many years, but there are, negative things to it. And I've, heard horror stories from bad allergic reactions or ripping the skin off because of the pooling. It didn't adhere in certain areas. So
I have
very few and far between, but it can happen.
I have some clients that have just filthy jobs, just like whether they work on farms or like whatever their filthy job is. And those are the clients that I'm definitely inclined to like, okay, here's the pros and cons to this, but I'm going to use it so that you stay clean. But one of the things that I always do with any derm is I always cut enough, and I usually like cut it into round patches so you get less of the adhesive at the corners where it tends to stick the most and like leave scars. But I'll cut it, and I'll give them some to change it the following 24 hours later. So like
Yeah.
when we finish at night, it's like, I want you to take this off. I want you to clean it very thoroughly tomorrow night before you go to bed, and then reapply it, or don't if you don't feel like you need it. But I feel like with the derms, a lot of people disagree with me, but I feel like it's really important to change it that first night. And then after that, wear it for 2 or 3 days.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I usually first 1 or 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
First 1 or 2 days. I have definitely gotten away with doing it for longer. My problem is with the doing it after the first 1 or 2 days is when I encounter the bad Band-Aid peel, because if you do it after that second day, there's no plasma or moisture under
It's
it.
just stuck.
It's just like stuck. So it's like that's where I
To
feel
that
like
freshly
if you do
healed.
decide to do that, keep it on until your tattoo's healed, basically. Because if you pull it off in the middle, like I feel like you're pulling tattoo off, and I don't know. It just had me worried that that might be the case, you know, that you could damage your tattoo if you pull it off too early and it rips on all your skin like that. Because I did
Yeah.
have dry areas, and I had areas that I felt like would have peeled, like some, like if an area does scab or anything underneath and dries and gets kind of
Mhm.
like that, and you pull that off, it's going to pull that scab off for sure.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that can't be a good thing. So I'm not going to say don't use it to anybody. I just think I don't know. I don't want to proclaim the right way to use it
Yeah.
either. I just
And
think
again, it
that
all
people should
depends
definitely
on the part of the
figure out your own, you know, use it a couple times and then figure out how, you know, your own flow with things.
We actually had a conversation at the shop the other day. Keith was working on a guy's knee 2 days in a row, and he was like, "Fawn, would you Sanoderm a knee?" And I was like, I mean, I'm not going to tell you not to, but I feel like you're just
I
wasting
wouldn't.
material. Like, I feel like it's too stretchy
Yeah.
and it's not going to do what it needs to do. And the knees heal up fine. Like they hurt to get done, but they heal up pretty quick and easy. I felt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
I
back
didn't
of my
use-
knee
I
was
didn't use
different.
I
Derm
worry
on
about what I
mine.
was saying.
I didn't use any on mine. It wasn't, you know, it was a pretty quick and easy piece, but I didn't even bother. It wasn't worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, I worry about the skin pockets, like I was talking about, where you get the skin wrinkles that just wrinkle up on a knee with so much movement and get a lot of irritation. I don't know how many other people out there experience that, but I get it kind of bad all over when I get it. And I've had a few people that have had it as well. Could be some sort of allergic reaction on my part as well to an adhesive, but it's not every time. It's not every time, but
I've had good luck with it with small tattoos on
like,
myself.
When Adam first did my tattoo, I had all sorts of areas everywhere, and it definitely wasn't his tattooing. It wasn't like little spots of like scab or something from too deep. It started from pimples, and then the pimples would like gather in an area, or like all those areas would just like grow.
Yeah, no, that very
Got a
well could
little-
be a mild allergic reaction to something, Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're learning things here.
The rushing of white blood cells to the area is always an indication of a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it happened in wrinkled
There you go.
areas. So it was the areas that were wrinkled, because after I would take it off, I would see those wrinkles for days.
You know,
You
that could
know.
also be where sweat would gather, where it wouldn't have a chance to gather in other places. So that's an additional variable.
Right. So all like kind of along the same point though,
Yeah.
is like those wrinkles can cause issues.
You're trapping goo,
Yeah.
period. Look,
But if you've had good experiences with it, keep it up. Do what makes sense to you, and do what works best for your tattoos if you have been tattooed. Otherwise, take some advice until you find what is right if you're just learning. Not
Yeah,
to-
my best advice is to
Yeah.
keep trying methods. If something doesn't work 100% for you, there's other ways to do it. So you can try wrapping it, you can try derming it, you can try natural, you can try just ointments, you can dry heal. There's so many methods that people swear by. Like I said, each piece, the saturation in it, the area of the body it's on, and you and how you heal, you have to take all that into consideration.
Mhm. I feel like if you're just in tune enough with your body, you know when to love it and you know when to let it be.
Right. I feel like there's just such easy tells now that I'm in like the routine. I don't ever have to really cover it or anything. I definitely wouldn't mind using wraps like you were showing. But you know, as soon as it starts to feel dry, wash it, moisturize it. And then once it starts to feel dry again, wash it, moisturize it. It can usually feel, as soon as they start feeling tight and all that. I guess me lately it's been more apparent because it's like my entire freaking back, you know. But
How is that itching,
it definitely
Jordan?
tells me my back's not bad, but my Adam, like 2 weeks ago, Adam worked on my underarm, and that is just as itchy as can be. It's been kind of nightmare itchy.
Itching like crazy.
But
Poor
it looks,
Jordan.
looks so awesome though. Adam did such a good job. Poor Jordan.
Poor Jordan. I almost
Oh.
feel bad. It's not really like I'm not making fun, but it's like I don't feel bad, but like at the same time I'm proud of you because you got to go through it. Like
Oh yeah.
like I'm proud of
I'm
anybody
not-
through for
not
sitting through a
asking-
rough
Definitely
session.
not asking for sympathy. I like just explaining what it is actually like. Like, I can sit and be like, "Nah, it's tough. You know, it doesn't hurt. It's all you know. Nothing matters. You know, nothing."
State of mind, man.
Right, man. It's just all in your head, man. But no, I mean, I just want to be honest to people. Like, it hurts me a lot when I go through it, but you overcome it. You find the ways to deal with it. And itchy, fuck, I'll bitch about that all day because it's super itchy, but it's something you're gonna deal with. But it's still
Yeah,
sucks.
if you just put some more lotion on it.
Right, exactly.
What else are you gonna do? Yeah, I love it. I get people at my job always asking me too about questions about that. I'm just like, oh yeah, lotion. Oh man,
Right.
I'm so itchy. I'm like, oh, yeah, I know your
Right.
pain.
It sounds like it's not moisturized.
Have you ever had a sunburn? Similar. That's what you do. Sometimes that blows people's mind when it's like, that's really it? Yeah. Like, you know, what your skin wants when it's damaged. That's what it wants when it's been tattooed. That's, you know, when you want to encourage new skin cells to grow, that's what you do.
And someone was just asking me if laser hurts.
Have you ever had any laser or any removal or cover ups or anything?
Yeah. I have one. My very first piece that I got when I was 20 years old. I just got a bat on my back, and I've had 2 laser sessions on it. So, and it pretty much broke. It's just about, I can't say gone, but it's easy to cover up now.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, not nice that you had to go
What is
through
it-
that,
what is
but
it-
nice that it'll be.
It
Is it
wasn't that bad. You know,
Is it
I
true
was
that it
just like,
feels like a
"All right, suck
rubber
it up."
band being smacked on your skin?
Yes, thousands of times. Yes,
Thousands of times.
and with no stopping. I was like, you know
Oh.
what? You know when you get that, like, you have to take a breath, and you're like, every few seconds they'll pick the needle up.
Right.
I'm like, you know, it's like, you know, that's your time to recoup every 30 seconds. This is just nonstop burning sensation for, you know, a minute or two.
Oh man.
It's like,
How big an
Uh,
area did you get removed?
it's not that big. Maybe, you know, 4 and 3 by 3 kind of thing, 4 by 4.
Okay.
It's not
Were
too
you able
bad.
to do it in one sitting, or did you go through it a few times?
No, I did two. They hit the whole thing in 2 sessions.
Okay.
So, and I did a year between sessions, and it's probably been a year and a half or 2 years now since my last session. And I think it looks fine to cover up. It's not that
Nice.
big. It was old ink, so it was easy to break down. And not too many colors. There was just like a little highlight of pink in it. So
Right. As long
you
as
know,
you can
that
break down
shows a
that
little
black.
bit. Yeah, as long as they break down the black. Yeah, so the wings are so light now that it looks like they're almost not there.
Nice. Have you covered it up?
Not yet.
Going to.
No.
Do you have ideas for your back yet?
Uh,
I know you said you want
I-
one artist to do
don't.
it, but
I don't. Yeah, I
It's
want
not a
one
race.
artist to do it.
it's not a race. It'll come to you.
Exactly. It gets done when it gets done. Yeah, I'm looking for something special, you know, it's something big, bold, telling some sort of story. But you know, it's kind of hard. It's because it's the biggest space on my body, and it's like, you know, I always, just like every other piece, I want to make sure it's the right thing.
Right. Right.
What about your
Did you
front
see-
torso?
Oh.
Oh,
Do
that's
you have any
open.
ideas? Do you have any ideas for it?
No, but you know, it's funny because Evan and I were coming up with the side piece, and he had a whole totally different idea of you know, a girl with some candles and some monsters behind her. We're like, that wouldn't look good on the side though. He's like, we should do your torso. Okay, maybe
Threw it out in the
maybe we'll-
universe.
Yeah, we'll revisit that.
Planted
I
the seed.
want to get my sides done first.
Are you going for full coverage? Is that your goal?
It's never was my goal. It was just to collect art. So I mean, you know, it
So
is
just
what it is. If it
To
gets to
keep
that
collecting
point,
till you run out of room?
or yeah, I'm not going to put any. I don't want to put any judgment on it. You know, just if I find an artist that wants to fill space and we got space and I can do it, I'll do it. That's what bugs me the most, seeing like dead space between pieces. So I really try to make sure we're not doing that. But I finished my leg. So my leg sleeve I finished last February. So that was finally done. So
doesn't that feel like a great accomplishment when you can call a whole leg finished?
Oh, it was.
Done.
It was. Yeah, I had this strange sliver gap on my knee that I had to fill, my thigh, the back of my thigh, and so I had my buddy Mike Caro filled it. He did. I didn't send that to you either. The my Batman Who Laughs piece with the two Jokers with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that's like a huge chunk of my thigh. So he filled that whole back inside thigh.
Thank you, Sandy. Very nice.
Yeah. So you see all the space on that leg, and the whole front side, the whole back side. So I was able to get all that filled. So that's killer.
They're all so good, man.
Is it a Nosferatu?
No, that's my witch. Which one?
The right under the witch?
No, that's the 4-eye.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, they look so bizarre always, every time I see them.
Yeah, it's those are fun pieces.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's so
bad. Yeah.
Oh, it just hurts my brain every time I look at it. I love it so much.
Yeah,
I just feel like your eyes are playing tricks on you.
Yep, I've been there before.
And he's fast. I mean, that was 7 hours, one sitting.
That's incredible.
So yeah.
Damn. Yeah, that's wild. That's wild.
It's funny seeing all the pictures. Like yesterday, I was going through everything. I'm like, it doesn't look the same to me when it's on my body. So looking at it because I can't see it in the right angle.
Right. So you're never seeing it like this. You're always looking at it up, either in the mirror or upside down.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's pretty cool going through all photos and stuff,
Yeah.
I sit there, some people sit there taking pictures of their legs and videos and all this stuff. I got my pictures. That's it. Yeah. I don't go crazy sharing everything because it's all there. Like I said, I get it for me, not to gloat and run around showing everybody.
Right.
What I got at work. I'm fully covered, so whenever anybody finds out I have tattoos, they have no clue until they hear it through the grapevine. Or I happen to pull my sleeve up and they're like, "Whoa, you have tattoos?"
Right.
And then everybody else who knows I have tattoos.
It's like wearing a suit. It's like wearing a suit, though. It's like those special occasions. It's like when people do see it, they're like, "Whoa, damn!" Yeah. Catches them off guard, as opposed to just being what it is every single day.
I walk into work in shorts and my day off. Everybody like, "Oh my God, I forgot Ed has tattoos." And yeah, it's not everyday tattoos. It's the tattoos I
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely not everyday tattoos. It's one thing to pull out some awesome tattoos on someone, but then it's another thing to like pull out like something that's just going to be jaw dropping.
Yeah.
And that's seems to be most of your pieces.
Yeah, thanks. It's like I said, I don't do the work.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm lucky enough to have them on me.
Yeah, no, that's super awesome. I feel like that's just as much of an art, man, being the collector.
Oh yeah,
it's like you're painting with artists.
Well,
that's why I love the collabing with them, because
that's the magic word. That collaboration between the collector and the artist to make the cohesion, to bring multiple ideas together into one thing that really like actually exists.
Yeah, and I don't think there's ever been a time where I said to an artist, "Well, this has to be in it and this can't be in it, and add this," and it's always just trust the art and do what the artist wants, because they're the ones that are gonna. One of my goals was every single time I went in there, I wanted the artist to be proud of what they were doing. I wanted them to love it as much as I was. So, almost every single piece, the artist afterwards sitting there taking all kinds of pictures and wanting to post it. There's only been a couple of pieces that, an artist didn't post. no, there's still artists that when they put up like advertisements for themselves or, just random throwbacks and they'll, or like convention banners and my pieces are on it.
Mhm.
It blows me away that, I'm one of those pieces and it's not always the same piece. It's just like, one and the next, like the witch was one of them. The 4-Eye was one of them.
It makes you feel good to know that your artist is that proud of it.
Exactly. It has nothing to do with me. They're
Mhm.
proud of what they were able to create. And I'm always there to show it off for them. So that's why I do the conventions. It's not necessarily for me, but I'll do contests for them.
Mhm.
It's,
Until
I don't
starting
keep it.
the podcast, I tried to keep all of my I don't know. I try to keep my social media stuff super minimal. So I've had clients come to me like for like a second piece, or we just run into each other and they'll be like, why didn't you ever share my whatever? And it's like, if I posted that, do you know how many emails I would have gotten the next day that I didn't want to sit through? So it's like, no, I know it was awesome, but like,
Right.
I wasn't ready for that flood of incoming messages. You know what I mean? Like sometimes my schedule is so full that like I don't really share hardly anything at all because I'm afraid of that influx of attention and that influx of, so like if your artist doesn't share your piece, please don't think it means that they're not proud of it.
Oh, I've seen 'em.
So for me,
It's
I
so
have a
funny.
strategic, like sometimes
seen
I
'em.
don't like you see the stuff I do day in and day out and you'll be like, what? You do this too? Because I may have never shared it, but it's
Right.
not because I'm not proud of it. Like
You're
I'll,
deliberate.
yeah, it's just one of those like sometimes my schedule is just too full for the extra attention. So if your artist doesn't
Right.
share your piece,
I
it
seen this-
doesn't
I
mean
seen
they're
this
not proud
meme.
of it. I just have to say that.
I seen this meme the other day that was it was like just like a girl that was like had her head like this and it was like coping with life after your artist didn't share a picture of your tattoo.
Yeah,
or
I
something
hope
like that.
my clients never feel like they're like I hope they
Oh.
don't feel like any project is less than the other. But I try to be very strategic when and how much I post so I don't have too many people wanting for work that I'm just not able to take on. So,
Did
but
you
it
go
does
through
feel
a
good.
time where you just posted a bunch of stuff and everybody was flooding you with, oh, I want that?
Yes, all of the above. All of the above. And sometimes I just like want to hide under a pillow when I like see like 15 new messages in my inbox. It's like, oh my God, I can't handle all these people. I'm only have 2 hands. What am I gonna
This is
do?
where it's
I
kind
only
of
got one
flattering,
brain.
right? It's kind of flattering, but then it's overwhelming at the same time.
That's it.
Yeah,
It's
it
flattering
is.
for a half second, but then it's like, oh my God, this is real life. I can't do it all. I'm not equipped. 10 fingers, not enough.
Yeah, I know. I tend to shut down when I'm overwhelmed like that, and then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna set aside this time here pretty soon to get to all of it, and then I'll do it.
Then
all
that
at,
gets
like, one
pushed
time, but I
further and
can't.
further back.
But then once they overload like that, it can be a little bit overwhelming. So you kind of have to be a little deliberate on how you post because how I get my emails is directly to how I post. Because every time I post is when I get my emails.
So as a collector though,
I
anytime
mean,
I
not every
see
time, but
like
there's a good amount.
anytime I
But
see
it's a
like
good thing. It's all
Russ
a good thing.
reshare my back, or I see like any of my projects reposted, or I see them on like another page that like reshared
Yeah.
it. It's always like, oh, look at that. The world
Yeah.
likes my tattoo as much as I do.
Oh, I know, right?
Mhm.
I love having.
Yeah,
It's so
it's neat,
awesome having
definitely.
iconic pieces too, or especially like your pieces are definitely going to be like that, or are like that now, where people will see your tattoo and they'll recognize your tattoo probably before they recognize you. They'll be like, oh yeah, I've seen that before.
Oh, for sure. And when I'm walking around conventions, people just walk up to me and be like, oh, I know that.
Right. I love that.
Like, oh, I didn't know that was on you.
Right.
Like, yeah. And like one of the ones that grabs the most attention is my Ben K piece that my burning skull with the candle in the mouth. That like that blew up because of the Tattoo Truth Fairy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys remember that. That's it.
That's
Yeah,
where they were
so-
posting like basically
Yeah,
calling
so I
people out for
decided-
over editing.
Yeah, I decided to send Ben a healed photo it was outside my house, just took a quick photo. So it was a little washed out. I didn't have a filter on it. And he was proud of it. So he shared it. So
Is
then
that
Tattoo
healed?
Truth. No, that's fresh.
Okay.
That was taken at Seance. Or Seance is like a really dark studio. So we had light, but there's no like extra ambiance light, so it naturally was dark on top of dark. But that was legit what it looked like. You can see the oranges they're not high contrast orange and yellows. They look muted, and that's exactly the way it was. So it was just the offset between the light and the dark, and it just made everything flow, and it popped. So
It is
Tattoo
pretty
Tooth Fairy,
beautiful what he's achieved here with muted colors, the way that he has, and those like cool grays in the forehead. That's what makes that glow look so warm and still muted. If I did this, it would be like fluorescent oranges and hot reds and like
Yeah, you got
neon,
I
but
love
it's
that
so
gray.
beautiful and soft, and it makes all the white just like, this doesn't look exaggerated. This looks believable. Where like, I mean, I take pride in exaggerating my stuff. Is that the tongue chopped off down there?
No, it's a candle wick that was inside of
Okay,
it.
yeah, that's the
Oh,
flame.
burning
yeah.
this- Yep, and
Okay.
the smoke
The smoke
coming
coming
up
up.
the top. Yep.
I'm looking
Yeah.
at this at a super funny angle.
I see it the way you see it too. I totally can see. I see both of it now. I see both of them perfectly. There's almost one where it almost looks like yellow muscle texture coming down, reflecting off of it, and then like a half chopped off tongue.
Yeah, kind
And it
of.
would look so dope like that. But I just see the flame.
Yeah, now I see the blown out wick.
So this is the concept. But what he did was he posted a whole. This was before he got into his teaching and his courses that he's doing, and his the reference 87, where he takes pictures and photos, and he basically he does now all his own reference stuff, but he shares all his reference stuff out there for every artist. So before, he was in New Zealand, and he was making his first trip to New York in forever, to the States in forever. So right before he left, he took a skull, melted wax all over it, put it in his fridge, and then propped it up with lighting and took all these still shots. So this is, again, another fully custom tattoo that I have that there's no way to replicate it. There's no way to, someone else is going to have even close to this. So it's a whole total experience that, and it's, something that whenever anybody sees it, they know instantly what it is. So I could be anywhere and people look at it and be like, oh, I know that. And they'll post it. They'll take pictures of it. Like even all these years later.
Yeah. That's so awesome. So awesome.
So yeah, that's basically Tattoo Truth Fairy. Yeah, he got ripped apart for that. So because he posted the washed out picture I took and put it up next to that and posted online saying, look, Ben K is, look at these blacks and they're not really that black. I'm like, no, yeah, they are. They're in the piece, everybody's like, I love
lighting
both,
can change
the healed
everything.
and the fresh. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome though. That's awesome that you came back with that.
I love having the chance to collect from international artists like that when they travel here. I feel like I was so privileged to collect from Tofi. I can't wait to travel to collect from other artists around the world.
I met Tofi a couple of times. He's a really, really good dude.
Yeah.
I want to get tattooed by Stefan Gur, or Stefan Nigger, I think. You know who I'm talking about?
Yep.
Yeah. His work's awesome.
Yeah.
Super dark bio.
Yes, yeah, he's awesome. I've been following him for a long time. I've got quite a few international artists on me now. I have Ben. I have 80 Poncho. I have Diogo Nunes. Did 2 pieces on me. and Mumia did one on me. I think if that's it.
You're like a walking art
No.
collection, man.
Yeah, Potter, Sengen Joe, you know him?
Uh-uh.
He's from Toronto. I think he's Vietnamese or Korean, one of the two. Korean. He's from Korea. Yeah, but he's in Toronto now. So
Nice.
that was one of the first pieces I got. So that was when I started really liking, getting into tattoos. And that was again another skull piece with like an eye in the hand, like he's deteriorating away. So that was pretty cool.
Hell yeah.
So man, 8 years. So how do you
Yeah, that's
usually
Potter.
like a standing appointment? Like if it wasn't for COVID and things were a little bit easier to come and go, are you like getting tattooed monthly, or is it just whenever opportunities present themselves?
Not right now. I mean, when I did my side with Evan recently, I did like 2 sets in August and 2 in October. But besides that, I went through a time where I was getting tattooed every month. I banged out a bunch of pieces. So I had, or I had like one scheduled every other month. I'll get 2 done, take a month off, or take 2 months off and get 2 more in. But that's not normal. I don't, because I'm not sitting there like, oh, I got to hurry up and cover myself. Let me find out who's available next. It was pretty much, what artists do I want work from and how did it happen? So I wound up getting this piece, the bend piece, I filled my forearm in a week with 2 different artists. That was pretty cool. That was my Mumia and that piece. That's my Javier Tunes.
I love those little silhouettes in the background. Those are such cool little like atmospheric details.
Right? I love that. That's so awesome.
Yeah, they're trying to like break through from the void.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
And he's like the puppet master.
The void.
Yeah, I love the way that it's like the marionette hand is removing the mask. It says a lot. There's a crazy narrative, like probably 10 crazy narratives that could be told from this piece.
Yeah. Yeah. So and the one on the other side of it is that one. It's like he's being torn apart by the hands.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of really cool things going on in this one too. I like the way that looks like it's pretty much all black and gray, and then you've got the opaque grays in the eyes. It's a nice touch.
Yeah, help the eyes pop a little bit.
Who did this one?
That was Mumia.
Mumia?
Yeah. He does a lot of gothic themes with faces and skulls.
Okay.
He does a lot of big scale work. Yeah. So basically I knew he was an amazing artist, but I wasn't crazy about all the gothic, architecture that he does in it. So I was like, all right, show me what you got. And he went through a bunch of references and this one popped up and I was like, that one. That's exactly the one I want.
You can see little hints of the architectural, like it almost looks like flying buttresses coming up off of the forehead. So you can like see like a little drizzle of that brought into this, but
yeah,
without it being overwhelming.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for architectural work and tattoos, so it just like leaps off the page at me. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's done some amazing pieces on my buddies too. My friend Bill has a really cool Mumia piece. It's like a girl's face with the gothic and so
nice.
Yeah, he does a lot of big scale work. Amazing, and he's also a great guy. So pretty much that's been the best part for the whole collection is just the people I've met, the different artists I've met, and the different backgrounds they have.
Mm-hmm.
Like Evan is a painter. That's where he came from. That was his background. But because there was no work in painting, he got a job as an apprentice. And now he does the artist side like the painter's approach to tattooing. So he knows how to get that, and he's willing to share with his tutorials and stuff.
I think there's
And his
something
seminar.
magic in an artist who is like a formally trained artist first, and then they just discover this new paintbrush and this new medium. I love it. It's almost magic when somebody's like got whatever the magic ingredient is, when it's just in them, and then it's like, oh, here's a new tool, do a thing with it, and they're like, oh, there it is, amazingness in the skin. It's magic when it's
Oh yeah.
It's almost like they're not settling, but it's like they found it. They found what they were working towards the whole time, even though they didn't know it. I feel like that sometimes. I feel like because I wanted to be basically a classical painter and sculptor myself. So when I found tattooing, it was like, this is what I was preparing for the whole time. Like I was learning all that classical stuff, and I was learning chemistry and biology at the same time. And, one thing led to another, and boom, tattooer. That's what I was meant to do with all of it. Like there's just a magic thing that like I never planned it. It's like when I was in art school, I never planned to be a tattooer. It just like we found each other.
That's exactly what happened to me.
When I started collecting, people used to always ask me, oh, do you want to be a tattoo artist? Is that your goal, getting into the industry? And I'm like, I don't have an artist bone in my body. I can't paint. I can't draw. I can't do anything. So that's not what I want to do. And I thought about it, and I tried drawing a little bit, and I was like, nah, it's not for me. I can't see myself picking up a tattoo machine now and doing it. I would love to, and because I'd love to leave my mark and legacy like that for everybody to see. I don't respect you guys for sure for that. Just the fact that you'd want to actually have someone lay there and you're tattooing their skin for hours and hours, dealing with whatever smells and moves and
all of the gross.
When I'm laying there, I'm like, oh my God, am I moving too much? Am I shaking? Like when I did the collab in Philly with the witch, and I'm like, man, I feel like I am all over the place. I'm like, nah, man, you've been laying like a rock. You haven't moved an inch.
That's how I feel when I'm getting tattooed. I feel like I'm all over the place. I feel like I'm not doing good. And then, then I'm like told that, no, you did just fine. You sat there just fine. But in my head, I'm just like, oh, it's just like fire, screaming, kind of clenching my fist, just like, okay.
I apologize to anybody who has ever worked on me on a very regular basis, because I squirm and wriggle and I am ticklish. Like there are times where like it doesn't even hurt, but it's just like you just touched me, so I got to jump 6 inches. Like I know I was in the perfect spot, but now I'm 6 inches away. Sorry. Like I've got to be awful to be just. I'm sorry to anybody who's ever worked on me. I apologize.
Well, as long as you're not screaming, then you're just making a fool out of yourself.
Yeah, right. I tend to just shut up. I either shut up or I just like continually talk. It's one or the other. There's no in between.
You need something to get your attention. It's like if you have nothing. Like some of the shops, I love when there's movies on, or
it helps so much just to have some sort of distraction. Anything just for your eyes to just pay attention to. I tried painting last time that I was getting tattooed, and that actually helped a lot. I think even if someone's not a painter, just like quickly dabbing in paint and just putting something on the canvas, like just it like made this huge split between like how I was thinking about the pain and then like concentrating on something else. And like, yes, I could feel the pain, but there was another part of it where like totally would disappear sometimes. It was weird.
Yeah, I love the conversation,
like a mental
too.
thing.
But guys joking around and just talking.
At Guy's shop, it's definitely, there's a whole vibe there. It feels great while you're getting plenty of things to distract you, even just like staring at a painting on the wall, or we're watching the condor, or not condors, the vultures out back.
Yeah.
It's like a family of vultures that hangs out back there, and he's got those like 10-foot windows we just watch him out of.
You watch the vultures. When I get worked on there, I'm like, oh, that's a hummingbird out there. It'll be like this one leaf that looks funny, and then sure enough, it'll move. And then I'll spend the next 10 minutes watching a hummingbird. Jordan's like, vultures, yes. It is good though. I love having any kind of visual distraction to, just help the experience along. You don't want to be trapped thinking about only the pain. So anything you can like distract your brain away and just help relax through it. I try to have as many of those options as possible.
Yeah. I mean, I've had
Definitely.
a couple of sits where you didn't have all those distractions, and those are the tougher ones. So
Time
like
goes by a
either
lot slower.
someone will put on headphones or doesn't speak good English, so you're pretty much stuck there by yourself. And
Right.
like those drag a little longer. But
Oh, yeah.
knowing that you're getting the piece you're gonna be proud of, and it kind of
Part of
makes
why
it
I
all
never
go away.
I don't put headphones on when I'm working. Part of that, I really like to be there with my client, and I'm not dogging on anyone who does do that, because whatever it takes to get in your zone, you're doing
Yeah.
awesome art. If that makes you more comfortable, the same as like the way I go and smoke weed.
Yeah.
Maybe you go and put headphones on. But I like to be there with my client for sure. I enjoy the conversation with different clients, and it's usually, 7 out of 8 clients are usually I have good conversation with, and
Mhm.
have fun meeting them and stuff. I think with the type of work that I do and stuff, I naturally kind of get good clients and good people. So it's always fun conversation. So I enjoy it, but I also don't want to shut myself out so much that they just feel like they're, kind of almost there alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't think
Yeah.
that of a time that I've ever been worked on by an artist that was wearing headphones. I feel like,
I haven't either, personally. Nothing wrong with it.
I mean, I've definitely had some sessions where it was like concentration, not much talking, but like we were still vibing to the same music. And like, as they're working on me, the needle's going to the rhythm of the music around me. And I think there's something that I think that almost helps cope with it better if your artist is kind of working to the rhythm of the music, because then like, I don't know, it just kind of helps with any of that like anticipation, that jumpiness. I feel like, I don't know.
That. I do this
when
thing.
chill music's
where
on.
I don't know, because I'm a tattoo artist or what, where I feel like I almost know too much about what's going on. So I have this like hyper visual in my head of like what exactly is happening on the skin. And for some reason, visualizing all of that and even thinking about how that needle is, what's happening with the needle at all, like almost hurts more for me. Some people like to sit and watch and all that. Like, I don't like to watch. I don't like to even think about that needle. I like to totally put myself on another in some distraction.
Sometimes it's like, oh my God, I deserve this so bad.
Right.
And I just like want to cry, but
like,
all I can say is like, I deserve this.
You're like, it's self-torture.
I always find it really funny how your body tells you that your body's telling you that something way more traumatic is happening than what is actually happening. And I always think that's really funny, because that's like part of the illusion. Like, really what's happening is that needle's going into your skin like 2 millimeters, like nothing, like just hardly anything, like probably not even that. And really, I don't know, when it's happening to me, it just can feel like a nail is just dragging, a hot nail is just getting dragged across my skin over and over. And I feel like it almost helps me cope with the pain the more I remind myself, like, none of that's happening. The body's just being crazy, saying something bad's going on, giving you all these signals, but in reality it's just this tiny little thing, and it always helps me come back to center.
I've got one
when I
client
start
in
like
particular.
getting like, you start getting off in the pain with the pain demons and the pain frenzy, where you like you're not focusing on your breath anymore. You're kind of, you almost lose grip for a second, and then you realize, oh, I just need to take a breath. I just need to take a breath, because
I've got one client in particular. She committed to a back piece without really realizing what a commitment a back piece was. So it's been a journey, but like, I'll get to working on her and like, I'll really be starting to make progress, and she'll be like, Bon, it's raw. It's raw. It's like, no, it's not raw.
Right.
Like, this is just
I
what
can't
it feels
I
like
can't
on
sit
your
in that.
shoulder blade. And she'll
Tell
be
me
like,
you're dry wiping.
raw. You need to move on.
Your
It's
client's
raw.
trying to tell you what it's like, and I know it hurts. You can tell me it hurts a lot, but don't tell me I'm doing it wrong. You've been in that area for too long. Something wrong's happening there. Like, no. It's an illusion. I haven't done anything.
We're getting through it though, little by little. We're getting
like
through it.
10 minutes in, you're like, give me some numbing cream.
See, that's why
please."
I don't like to focus on it or like think about with areas, because I know how I like to work in layers and sometimes go back into areas and stuff. I just like, the more I think about like, oh, this is the 4th time he's went over that area, like the more my brain's like, too traumatic, more traumatic,
traumatic.
more traumatic. I can just pretend like it's a new spot that he's working.
Guy, do I even have any skin left there?
Guy, are you tattooing my bones? Feels like you've
And then
torched
you
off
get
my
some
skin.
some artists who like paint. I mean, it's like painting on the skin, right? You barely feel anything.
That kind
a
of his guy
brush.
though. He's super light, super light. It's just the coverage, you know, when there's no spot like untattooed.
I
Fun
think
nose.
Guy's my most recent tattoo. I think Guy's the last one that's worked on
those
me.
your armpits.
Yeah, I think that's the last time I've been worked on. So I keep going back to that point of trauma for
Yeah,
reference
that's
every
where your
time.
last PTSD.
Yeah,
since.
that's my most recent tattoo PTSD. Not that my armpits were bad for what they were. Like,
You handled them like a champ. I do not like those areas.
on the inside, I was not handling them like a champ. On the inside, I was crying like a little girl, and a little bit on the outside.
Well, guys makes it easier to deal with though. When you're around artists like that, I really do feel like in like the atmosphere, it just gives you like the strength to just pull through. You
What's
know, you're
been-
like, it's just so worth it. And you know, no matter what, it's going to be so dope. It's just like, it gets you through it.
What area has been the most challenging, like pain wise for you? And then how'd you like kind of mentally get through that?
Well, the collab I had done was really tough because just Mike and Evan were working so in sync with each other. It was like when one would pick up, the other one was in. It was like nonstop, back and forth, back and forth. So it was like almost 10 hours where felt like I didn't have a breather. So, you know, that was a struggle because you don't have that mind. It's hard to get into the mindset and to just reset yourself. So
What
that
part
was
of the
tough.
body was it?
That was on my hip.
Okay.
I forgot
But
if you said already,
pain-wise,
was
it
that a
wasn't that
convention
bad.
or was that not a convention?
Yeah, that was at a convention. Yeah.
So that's even harder because there's always the feeling of like we need to finish the piece, you know, before the end of the day or whenever they need to finish it. So it's like there really is kind of no breaks or no solid breaks or anything.
You said this was 10 hours one day?
10 hours, one day, two guys.
Oh
Yep.
goodness, it's so good though.
Yeah. So
Heal
it was
up real
tricky.
nice.
You know, it was one of the only times I actually felt the needles like going in. It was, you know, it was just like all you felt was, you know, needles dragging across the skin. It wasn't for the entire thing. You know, it was like, I always find that once I hit like that 5-hour mark is when my body starts to fight it and I start to feel more. So just, you know, if you take a break or refresher, you know, drink some water, I usually find myself getting, you know, okay.
Yeah.
So you learn these things about yourself as you sit for longer tattoos for sure. Like I could do a 6-hour tattoo any day. You know, that's not too bad. But once you start getting into the longer sessions, you gotta.
Yeah, those last couple hours are so much to get through.
Yeah.
It really can just be exponentially worse.
Other than that, for some reason I find the back of my shins is like feels like really thin skin, and those tend to hurt a lot. And no matter what, if it's 4 hours session, it feels like you're feeling every needle.
Yeah.
And like the ribs, I really, compared to, you know, those areas, like the shins, it was nothing. Like,
really?
Yeah. So I'm like, I don't mind sitting for another 25 hours.
God damn.
See, I disagree. I mean, the ribs aren't necessarily like bad in any one instant, but exhausting. I just feel like anywhere on the torso is exhausting.
Yeah.
That looks like a digital rendering.
I did 2 2-day sessions. So the girl, she was done in one session. The second day we did all the smoke in the background and left the wolf. Third day we did the wolf's head. And then on the fourth day he did some, you know, extra background stuff and, you know, just bumped up the reds a bit and then finished down at the bottom. So pretty much went through the whole thing almost again on day 4. But
what are you going to do with your armpit there?
hey, he got pretty much up. You see, there isn't much room left in that armpit.
It's close. I mean, you're there. It doesn't, if from like where the top of the werewolf's ear is, it doesn't get worse.
I bet that felt really good right up to that nipple too.
Like it doesn't get worse than that little spot there. I don't think.
Yeah, you know what? It felt like he was on the nipple, but it wasn't painful until I hear until you get on the nipple. So, well, I don't know. I'll get to that.
It's
But there's no
absurd.
way. If I ever
An
did my
absurd
torso, I
difference.
would have to do the
Juan,
the
did you
nipple.
get your nipples covered?
They're
with-
not
with
fully
yours?
saturated, but yes,
Yeah. Oh, man.
I have mostly blue nipples.
Yep. I got one black nipple, one solid black nipple.
Mostly blue.
It was a nightmare. It really was. But it was quick. It was quick, and my PTSD has blocked the memory. So
So you're
Nope, I
getting through
remember
that.
mine.
Nice.
I remember
Getting,
mine.
getting
I
through those
remember.
25 hours was pretty
I
much
remember.
being in the shop and the guys we were talking to, and the movies we watched. It was just mayhem. We were just like, let's put on the craziest movies we can come up with. And we watched.
Tarantino's always good. What'd you watch?
Oh, geez. We watched all kinds of like crazy horror movies. So especially the last day. The last day was or the next to last day was October, and I was just like, dude, I'm like, let's just watch some crazy old horror movies. So we pulled out all kinds of stuff.
Nice.
Like Society. I don't know if you guys know that movie.
I don't know that
Not
one.
familiar.
Oh, look it up. It is so crazy.
So got a monster in it, or is it a killer?
Demon Wind was another one. Trying to think what else we watched. We went to House 2. A couple of the gory ones.
Nice.
Gore always gets you through a tattoo session every time. Even clients who are like you wouldn't think would be down for stuff. I'll
Anything
be
that's gonna
like
get your
Pulp
adrenaline
Fiction.
going, I feel like
Yep.
it's gonna be good. If your adrenaline's kind of pumping and you're
Kill
like,
Bill's
you're
great
into
to watch
something,
while you're
something's,
getting
like,
work
got you hooked.
done.
I've watched so many of the Need for Speed movies. Or no, Fast and Furious movies.
Oh yeah.
I've watched all of them like 3 times. Getting tattoos.
Nice.
Shop favorites. That
Nice.
Training Day. That's the joke. It's like when we don't know what to watch, we put on Training Day.
That's awesome. I've probably
Okay.
made my way through It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia at least 10 or 11 times, all the way through all the seasons in my tattoo room.
It's solid. I'll be like, "Are you back on this episode again?"
I'm going back on 13.
Yep. Man, what
Yeah,
are
I love having my TV on while I'm working and for my clients if I'm getting tattooed.
I like
it
having
helps.
comedy on. Sometimes my clients zone out and put headphones on, or they'll be doing work or reading or whatever. I don't know how they can do that, but they do.
I like brainwashing my clients and just putting on what I want them to watch.
You know, it varies for
Yeah,
me.
right?
Sometimes I'm
I'm
into
just
gore.
kidding.
Sometimes I'm into documentaries.
I'll put on like
sometimes I'm
alien
into-
documentaries sometimes though. I'll like get into a conversation. I'll be like, oh no, you got to hear this interview with this guy. And they won't even bring up aliens. They don't even talk about it at all, but I'll get all excited about it.
Be like,
"All
I
right,
can tell
let's
you're
see.
into aliens.
I can tell you don't know, and you're going to learn today."
You're going to learn.
Nice.
Learn them.
I guess you
Oh.
never know what you're gonna do in a shop.
Exactly.
It kind of depends on the client too, what I'm gonna put on.
I
but
feel them out a little bit.
yeah, the
little bit.
the vibe's always a little different. And sometimes like I come in and it's like, hey, I was watching this thing. You want to watch the rest of it with me? Let's start it from the beginning.
Right.
And that'll lead us down some whole new rabbit hole.
Yeah, last time we started watching Rick and Morty, just left that on.
Yep. Done that one. Done that quite a few times.
What's Duncan Trussell's
Oh, Duncan Trussell Family Hour.
no on Netflix?
Oh, the Midnight Gospel.
Midnight Gospel. That's pretty good to put
That's-
on and
that's a-
just
that-
let go.
That's a great like existential show.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
that's a great one because you can get through like the whole season or the whole series in a day.
Right.
Like, you know, if we're
Very
if we're,
funny,
if we're
very
like a
mind
solid
expanding.
8-hour, 10-hour day, we'll get through all of it.
It's like everything Rick and Morty should be. Or no, it's like Rick and Morty if Rick and Morty had like real like morale.
Yeah, right.
I love Rick and Morty to death, but it's very mind expanding show, but it's also like very nihilistic type show where there's like no point to life type thing.
True.
The
true.
Midnight Gospel's like there's a lot more healing, I would say.
Yeah.
I can't watch stuff that has too much thinking in it though, because you know
Right.
every so often you got to just go off into your own mind.
That's
You know, when
That's
you
something
get
I
some
love about
stuff.
Rick and Morty is that you don't have to think. You can watch it and it's just the most absurd shit.
Yep.
And Always Sunny.
Yeah, Always Sunny is definitely one of my favorites for that. Like, I know if
Every
I put on
time
Always
it's like,
Sunny, I'm
Frank.
just gonna end up laughing. I don't have to pay attention, but something hilarious is gonna happen. You're just gonna hear them spout some fucking funny shit off.
Awful human beings.
Awful stuff.
Awful human beings. Oh man.
Bird.
So you said your daughter doesn't like your tattoos at all.
No.
No.
She'd rather me stop.
Are they
Yeah.
too scary for her? Is that what it is?
No, I don't know. She just doesn't see the point in it. Neither does my wife.
She's
but-
young though. She's 12, and if your mom kind of has, or your wife, I mean, has has that has that attitude, I could see how that could kind of come off a little bit too. I feel like she'll get to a stage where she probably starts to see the art in it.
Maybe.
I feel like it's
maybe.
pretty young.
Look, I'm not
Always
forcing
weird.
anything on her. Yeah. So again, to each their own.
Strap her in the chair. Make her get
You're
tattooed.
gonna like that.
You're gonna love it. Is your wife
Yeah.
tattooed?
She has a couple. Nothing huge. You know.
Yeah.
Nothing. No major art. Just a couple of words. That's about it.
Yeah.
So.
Isn't
Guess
it funny when you're the odd man out? You're like you're like the colored plaid man of the family.
yeah, I'm the weird one, but I've always been weird, so that's okay.
That's I think that's one of the things that we all have in common. We're all already used to being weirdos and standing out in a crowd. So it's like, well, we'll do it more. I'm already gonna
Right.
stand out. Like
Find another way.
I'm gonna stand out.
yeah, I come from a family where nobody's really heavily tattooed like I am at all.
No one in my family has really any tattoos except for their like one or two little words. They became tattooed once I became a tattoo artist. More and more did. But yeah, definitely I was always the black sheep. Always, even since I was young, before I even had tattoos. So
Well,
tattoos just kind of
my
ingrained it.
brother's covered, but I don't see it. He has more of like neo-traditional type of work, I think, and I think some Japanese. I don't see it often, but
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I started. I saw the work that he was getting, and unfortunately, I wasn't fond of it. I didn't like the flow. I didn't see how it made sense. So I was like, if I'm going to get work done, then I need to get something that's going to stand out and be something that I can, blow people's minds.
Yeah.
Not look at it, but like, what is that? And why did you get it? I don't
Yeah.
care if you don't like the subject.
So
matter, I don't
instead the reaction is like, oh wow, what is it?
care. Yeah. Like, holy cow, what the heck did you get? Yeah.
Different reactions.
Right.
Chasing different
It
reactions.
scared the
for
little
sure.
kids away. Yeah. Go pick my kids up at school, and they're like, all the other parents were like, oh, let's not talk to him. He's weird. I'm like, okay.
Oh man, it's so funny when you start bringing in like the dynamic of family and like tattoos. Some families
Yeah.
are totally cool and supportive, and other families are just like, I don't get it. I don't see what the thing is. I don't. I feel like my family's past it. Like I've tipped over the point where they're just like, oh, you got another session. Okay, are you going to eat?
Yeah.
It's just like no longer a discussion. And I'll show them things I'm excited about, and they're like, oh, I'm excited that you're excited about getting tortured.
Yeah, sounds like my mom. A lot of times you're like, can't you just get artwork on the wall? I'm like, okay, I'll do that too.
In addition to, yes.
I'll move on to that. So, did it freeze?
Oh, I think just for a moment,
No.
I think you're back. The picture might have froze, but
Still
I think we're
frozen.
still here. But
Stuck though.
it gets funny when we're watching you. And
Oh, there you go.
there we go.
Bam.
We're back. And we're
Yeah.
back.
And we're back.
Like I was moving. I could see me,
Oh, you can see you?
not you though. Yeah. So yeah, family's always interesting, but they don't rag on me too much. I'll do my thing. So that's
Are you
okay.
going to keep your hands and above the collar open? Professional looking?
as much as I need to. Again, I'm not one of those to pre-think.
Yeah. What do you do for a living?
I'm a manager at Costco, actually.
Okay. So do they care about, like, does the dress code even care about tattoos there anymore?
No, but just in life in general, if you're trying to be successful, don't want to offend anybody and, do anything that people are going to see as weird to
Mhm.
put a negative. Yeah. It's so like, I understand that. And I know everybody's got different perceptions. So you have to kind of, figure
Yeah.
out all the innuendos to still get the most out of what you want while, and some of that means that you can't offend everybody. So I try to make sense. So I'm not going to get any naked girls tattooed on me, or I'm going to offend my wife or daughter, or make myself look like a masochist with like
Good
satanic
choices.
imagery.
Right.
Good choices.
Yeah. So like, again, I have no goal and my wife doesn't believe me. She thinks you just want to be covered. Like, I don't have a goal. My goal is to just get good art. And as long as I have space and I have, reason and, if I can do it, I'll do it. So I'll get there. It's all about what artists can I get next and where can I fit them. So, I'm trying to, a couple artists I really want to get work from now that hopefully come up. I was hoping to get them this year.
Who are at the top of your list?
The top
Your
of my
tattoo
list,
bucket list.
well, number one, I've never been tattooed by a female. So I have no lady tattooers on me. So there's a couple like Sandra Dushka from Latvia.
Okay.
And Catlin Malm.
I'm not familiar with either one of them.
All right. The Malms they're great. So Torsten and Catlin is his wife. They do a lot of collabs. So I'm working on getting a piece by them when they get over to the States. They do kind of like surrealistic realism pieces. So, but again, I'd just love to just let those two, they mesh so well together that I just want them to just do what you want to do, come up with something and just, do it.
Hell yeah.
And so then they work together all the time. So I know whatever they do will be amazing. Mike Johnston is from Rhode Island. He's a fusion artist. He's really great. His realism is insane. It's more hyper realism. So just a matter of figuring out what I want from him and where I'm going to fit him. And I got to find someone to do my kneecap. So, yeah. I mean, I've been talking with Robbie Latos for a long time about doing something on my arm, but I don't know if and when that's going to happen. So, now like there's so many amazing black and gray artists that it's a matter of, I don't have the black and gray space anymore. I only have one prime spot on my arm left. And, how and when I'm going to get that done, I don't know. So, I mean, I got my wish list. I have Elliot Kohak. I'd love to get work by him with his dark surrealism. Can't think of anybody else off the top of my head. So again, I'll play it by ear whenever I get to it. Something might happen. So, yeah, something might present itself and be like, oh, wow, he's coming. Maybe I'll get him. And then just do it.
I never thought I would have been able to get worked on by Guy, but it just so happened he had a cancellation. And after the fact, I learned that Phil Robertson was ill. So I basically slid in Phil Robertson's spot to get my armpits started. If it wasn't for just like scrolling through and happening to see it when I saw it and like happening to have like a handful of money sitting there with nothing to do with it. Like sometimes it's just like, I would have always imagined it would have been great to have somebody like Guy in particular, who I look up to so much, work on me. But when the opportunity just like presents itself and everything's lined up and like, boom, next week it's happening.
Yeah,
it's
that's
pretty cool the way that like
exactly how I feel
the
with that same
the
situation.
the path can delightfully derail in something that you might not have thought was attainable
Yeah.
is in your lap.
Yeah, I went back when we were prepping for this. I went back to my. I found an old list of people that were on my top of my list, and
Mhm.
I hit all of them. It was crazy. So like the top 5 were like Ben Kay, Evan Olin, 80 Poncho, and like luckily they all came, were available, and I got work from them. So but I
Gotten-
never really grew my list too much from there because there was always like the people I had to have, and then anybody else was like, all right, I'll feel it out now that I'm getting my space limited.
Mhm.
Who will fit well with what I have going on. So
Mhm.
Yeah, I feel pretty fortunate. I think I've gotten all of my bucket list. Like if you would have talked to me in my first like 5 years of my tattoo career, who are the bucket list of artists you would love to work on you if like, you know, you could do whatever you want. And the only ones I haven't had yet are Carrie Barba and Samarina Nika. She's the one in Russia that I always talk about. But other than that, like I've really been fortunate. Like dream come true tattoo projects. It's pretty crazy. Like
Yeah, you got an amazing collection.
I forget sometimes like how covered I am and like how special it is that the people that have worked on me have worked on me. Like when I met Adam, it took us talking a few times before like, we committed to starting my leg, but like in the talks in between, like he knew what a fan I was of Ty's work. And, one thing just leads to another and it just kind of happens. And I never would have imagined like first starting out, I remember when I would show people like, I want to do ornamental work. I want to do stuff like this. And I'd pull up like pictures of Ty's work and Russ's work, and to be wearing such prolific pieces by both of them. It's pretty special. It's a pretty cool, like full circle, it was always a goal that I didn't think was really attainable. But then when I have these, world renowned artists who have taken the time to work on me, it's pretty special. And I feel like your collection is exactly the same,
yeah,
like,
once you start opening the doors, you see more possibilities, and then like things that you didn't think would ever happen all of a sudden come to fruition. It's like I didn't think I was ever going to get Paul Acker, but because I reached out to Ron Russo, and Ron Russo added to me, and Ron's like, you know what, Paul's a great friend of mine. I'll message him and I'll let him know that you want work by him. So I had to wait 6 months before I heard a response from him. But all of a sudden, I got a response from Paul. He's like, "Hey, I got an opening next week. You want to come?" I was like, "Yes."
it just happens, man.
Yeah, yeah. And it was like, seems like every piece kind of rolled into the next one, because some people know who they have to work around, and I so many times artists are like, and either they're so impressed with the work I have, or they feel like they have to bump up their work to the next level in order to fit with everything else that's going around.
Mm-hmm.
So like Casey Anderson was another one. I don't know if you know Casey's work.
Mm-mm.
I saw his stuff, and I know his horror work was awesome. So I asked him to do a zombie piece, and his zombie piece, it rivals the rest of the pieces going on my leg. So like his work's not always, it's hyper realism. He has a softer edge to a lot of his stuff, but the fact that the piece that he did fit.
There it is.
Yeah, there's my Paul piece, man. Yeah, everybody, like the depth in the eyes. Everybody's like, I feel like I can put my fingers in it.
Ugh.
And Paul picked that piece totally. I just told him I want a zombie, and they sent that over. Like, are you okay with this one? Paul really wants to do it, and I was like, yeah, if you can pull that off.
Yeah, that thing looks like delightfully disgusting.
Oh, it'd be so much fun to work on.
Yeah,
Amazing.
It's like when I started, I was like, if I'm getting a sleeve, like a realism sleeve, I got to do something that nobody does. And I can't just get movie portraits or faces, and I'm like, I need to do something that's going to be artsy as well as disgusting and meets what I want. And I was like,
Totally.
how about zombies? So that's where my zombie leg sleeve came from.
It's badass. So badass.
Yeah, that's blended out. Now I have probably like 6 zombies, I think, on that leg. Something like that.
Dang.
The cool thing about zombies is they've like it probably lends for these artists to play off of one another, because you can just change the deformities and you can change the decrotedness and the decay, and like they can all become like a collaborative piece of a story.
Yeah, each one of them has their own like gruesomeness and differences. It's like he's like, that one is fully like a whole face is deteriorated. I have another one that's more old school, that he's like has the greenery like sticking out of his head. I have the girl who had just became a zombie, and so her eyes are like bright, but she still has human features to it. I got the other guy on the back of my thigh who's like, he just like it's the blood dripping down from his mouth.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, that one was done by.
Oh, this
Ron
is your
Russo.
arm.
Yeah, that's my arm. Yeah, so Ron Russo did that one. He killed it.
Look at those
he
creepy
still
eyes,
posts it.
man.
Yep. Yeah, so again, that's like the whole gruesomeness to it. Like it's something else is going on. It's not just like gore. It's like what is all over her? Is it blood? Is it something else?
Yeah, it tells a story for sure.
That's kind of weird. Like my one arm, it's almost like it's almost like I have destruction pieces on it, like something like otherworldly's going on, and the other side is like the demonic slash, like with the hands and the marionette.
Mhm.
Then I have the piece on my forearm of the girl. She's like a ghostly figure, and then there's like the silhouette, and the Diogo Nunes did that one. It has the swing. That
Okay.
that was actually one of the toughest sits, because it was a long day, and we didn't finish till 5 o'clock in the morning. So my body was just done.
Mhm.
So, and the face had packed in so much like highlighting and whites to just make her look more like ghostly, but it healed so soft. And yeah, that one.
Wow, this is impressive.
Yeah. So it's funny because like I had this, I think I entered it once in a black and gray contest and didn't really get anything for it. So last year at Philly, I went, and there were top pieces that I was going up against. And I was like, you know what? People have been telling me how much they love this. And I'm like, let me put it into portrait and see what it does. I wound up winning first place out of 60 people.
It's a beautiful piece. Like every layer of it is so thoughtfully considered and transparent. It actually like reminds me of like a traditionally superimposed like black and white photos where it's like been like triple exposed in a very organic way.
Yeah. If you zoom in on her face, you can see there's a guy walking on a bridge with lights.
Yep. That whole like we were talking about architecture earlier, that whole piece of like that bridge or whatever he's walking across towards this other figure in the foreground is what sticks out to me. And then like the wood grain on that swing, like there it definitely tells a story, but it makes me ask more questions about what the story is than actually understanding what the story is. I think that's what kind of makes this one eerie, is because there's a lot there, but I can't tell you what the story is.
Yeah, it's more like the like ghostly, ethereal, just like the silhouette figure of the girl walking away and the guy walking on the bridge, like he's leaving the past behind, kind of thing. and the empty swing. So it's kind of like you feel the sense of loss, and then almost a sense of like accepting where they're going. So it's kind of like a balance of like what's in the middle.
It's beautiful. And like even the thoughtful considerations and the details in the hair.
Yeah. Diogo, a lot of people don't know Diogo. He's from Portugal. But he's such an amazing guy and such an amazing artist. And, you know, he's done 2 pieces on me now. And if he comes back, I'll probably get a 3rd if I have room. So, because he's just, I know exactly what I'm getting out of it every time I sit down with him. One fun thing about being a collector is I get to talk about the artists like a lot of people don't know. You know, some people, everybody knows like now, like the Evan Olins and the Ben Kays and the Ponchos, but it's the other artists like Mike, who did most of my work on me. Well, I can't really say most. He's done 11 pieces on me, but no, again, he's at a shop in Long Island. He doesn't go to conventions. He just wants to do his own thing, and you know, he doesn't post much on social media, which I tell him all the time. He's got to step it up on social media so he can, you know. But he gets to work. He'll book up a year easily, and you know, I try to be an ambassador for him because you know, I support him, he supports me, and you know, it's great when you have, you know, artists out there like that. So, you know, I hate, you know, not that I hate, but it's very easy for an artist to get a big head when they're popular. They start raising their prices. They're all about now the money that they can get, which like you can get the money. That's great because people are willing to pay it. And I don't know if you guys notice right now, but with this pandemic, everybody's prices have skyrocketed. Now, we talk about it all the time in the collector chats, how artists now, a lot of them are charging art fees that aren't, that they're not.
That's not going on at Red Tree at all.
Yeah, Red Tree. We're all exactly this. There's nothing like that at Red Tree. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean,
like, we haven't really thought about it like that. But then
I've been gradually raising my prices for like 4 years.
We also have a good system. I mean, as a shop too, we're not like, there's a lot of, I think there's some other factors there that probably, you know, equate to that. I think some shops that might be having a harder time, you know, they might be falling behind and they might just really have no choice but to do that a little bit. But
I do hear what he's saying though. There are a lot of artists who are incredibly advantageous, and like, for instance, let's say we're talking like small town tattoo studios or like outside of our Columbus bubble, what we see every day. There are artists who raise their prices during tax time. Is that fair? Because, you know, people have their tax returns to charge more during those sessions in February, March, and April. Is that fair? No, but a lot of artists do it. I think it's unethical.
Yeah. And they'll lower their price in the winter when people cancel a lot.
I actually tell people not to do that. Like, don't drop your prices ever, because we work way too hard to sell our work for garage sale prices.
And you also you make it worse for the rest of the tattoo community when you have really low prices and stuff. You make people think that that's what is normal or something like that. And kind of,
I think it just slaps people in the face that pay full price.
Yeah, I see it like from like a painting standpoint too. You know, people that are charging almost nothing for paintings that they spend hundreds of hours on or 100 hours on, you know, when they don't charge what they should charge for that, it actually devalues other art and other artists at the same time.
Oh yeah. That's so like in the collector community, it's tough because, you know, you're planning trips to people and then they want to charge you $3,000 or more a sit for one day.
Me and Brandon, I don't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry. Keep going.
I was actually overhearing your conversation while we're on this topic. Let's talk about what you and Brandon were talking about.
So Brandon had a client that came in and she was talking about how another artist in the Columbus area is charging $3,000 per session in the Columbus area. And whoever was
an artist that we've not even heard of or anything.
None of us have heard of him. Brandon didn't know who he was. Brandon showed me some of his work and like, you know, like not like great, not bad, not great, you know, but yeah, he's charging over 300 an hour for a full day set.
I always laugh when I hear stuff like that.
he
I'll
told
tell
his
people
client
not to pay it.
he
Like,
told his client 1,000 for the day.
when
His
I know what
client
the
thought
best
that was
artists
super
in
cheap.
the world are charging per day, like I think Josh Duffy charges like 300 or 350 an
I'm
hour
never
or something
charging more
like
than
that.
Guy. I'm never
But-
going to charge more than Guy works, because like, what do I got to look up to? First off, like I can't say that I'm doing art at the level that someone who's been doing this for 30 plus years and like a fucking boss ass, you know, just amazing at what they do. And then for me to just go and charge the same is a slap. It's
But
like
this,
slapping him
the
in the
crazy
face.
inflation that happens with some artists, you know, I'm gonna like some parts of the
It's a
country
tricky
tattooing is
subject.
more
It really is
expensive.
a tricky
In
subject.
New York, tattooing is
because I
more
wanna say
expensive
get
than
that
it is
money
in
too.
Columbus. But outside of like situations like that where it like it just is more expensive in this city than other cities. Outside of that, I think it'll come back around. I think people will get smart, and I think people will realize like there is an art to the hustle, and there are a lot of artists who are money driven, and when they've figured out that they can tell people whatever price and they're going to pay it just because, like, that's dishonest to me. But people are going to do it. Is it illegal? No. Is it morally wrong? I think so. But does that mean they can't charge whatever they want to charge?
Right. That's capitalism. I mean,
But that's where
Oh,
just
yeah,
as
I mean,
collectors, we need
but-
to educate each other.
Yeah, and every artist is different. So if you charge what you charge, for sure. You know, just like some top painters, you have to pay over 10 grand for a painting or even more than that. And then some are reasonable, and it's a matter of what they judge their artwork at. It's harder when you get people that are so willing to get work and travel around to them and show off their work for them. Kind of like the boat I'm in. I tell you the truth, like I'll kick a lot of artists to the side because there's no reason for me to go and pay all that money just to get somebody on my body.
Hmm.
You know, so they're going to alienate themselves, and then they're going to only get certain people, you know, to show their work, to have their work on them, but they're also not going to be those same people. They're going to come back over and over and over again, and you know, because they're spending all that money on one piece. So, I mean, if I had all that money to spare, sure, I could do that. But, you know, normal people don't have all that money to share to do multiple sessions with somebody at like 3,000 a pop.
yeah, you're
So,
going to see your client
but-
come back probably quicker. But
Oh, yeah. I mean, and it's all about the longevity too. So,
yeah, you know, the other
But
side,
hey,
the other
again,
side of it's like when I go to
you're right, with
when I
the
go to Guy, I'll
capitalism.
literally without even blinking, you know, I will give him whatever he asks for. You know, when I go to someone like Guy, like, you know, someone that's that good and it's got that reputation, and you know, it's just that solid of an artist. Like he could ask for 10,000 for the session, and I wouldn't question it. I'd just save up. It might take me longer, but I'm gonna save up for it. So there's those instances where I totally get, you know, paying whatever they ask for, because the art totally, you know, is worth it if the artist is worth it. But then there's the artist like we were talking about who's like, who is this guy charging, you know, more than
Another
every
thing I
other
want to bring
person
up is
in the
sometimes
city.
I hear astronomical prices, and then I'll see like what the person was asking for. And it's like, this artist just told you a crazy price because they didn't want to do it.
yeah.
So that's a thing too. Like some
We were
artists will
going
just
back and
throw an
forth about that, too.
absurd price out there because they don't want to do it. But it's like, I mean, if you want to pay for my time and money, I'll do this piece of trash that I don't want to do. But like some
Oh, yeah.
artists just throw crazy numbers out because they don't want to do it.
And those are the pieces you'll never see posted on social media, and they made a killing. And
I know, and that's kind of like that's kind of moral in a way too. You know, it's like you made the most on that piece, but it's the one you want to show. It's the least one you want to show off.
yeah, it's it's tricky there, you know, but yeah, people are gonna do it for
I
sure.
try not to do the pieces that if I felt like oh, I'm not doing this unless I charge this guy twice as much. Like I just feel like either way, my interest in the piece is probably going to be the same. The way I'm going to execute the piece is probably going to be around the same. You know, it's might as well have just given that piece to someone who can really do that piece awesome, is going to love that piece, as opposed to just being like, I could use the extra however much money.
I'd
It's
rather
like,
do a
I'm
project
still
that
going to
I'm
make
in
that
love with.
yeah, exactly. And in longevity, let's say that piece is going to take multiple sessions, and now you got to work multiple sessions on something that you're kind of about. Like that's not fair to do to someone, because I hate that feeling when I feel like I'm about a piece, not because I hate the piece, but because I should not be doing this to a client. So I just try not to take on pieces that I'm not going to be really
I pride
cool with.
myself in being versatile, but at the same time, there
I don't
are
think I'm gonna
things that I
execute them
enjoy
the best.
more than others. And like, if I enjoy it more, I'm going to sprinkle in a little bit more like extra tricks. You know what I mean? Where if the whole time I'm like working outside of my wheelhouse just to prove that I can work outside my wheelhouse, it's different. Like, okay, mission accomplished, but like we could have had fun.
Right. So I find I'm really versatile too, but I do find myself on some of the other styles that I'll take on something else and random, and then I'll get into the project and I'll realize, oh, okay, well, I'm actually gonna have to learn how to do this style right now to do this piece. There's all this, so there ends up being all this extra work that goes into it, and in the end, honestly, the paying the twice as much can kind of be almost excused, because I mean, I might spend an extra 5 to 10 hours on the drawing if I take on something like that, because I didn't have my habit of going into the piece, because like if I do something that's more
Your
my
workflow
style,
is just
I have
different.
my workflow. If I have to do something outside of the workflow, that means there's going to be a lot more like research and maybe sketches and things to try to get in, to try to work things into that style. So it can take longer, but I never charge extra for pieces I don't want to do. That's just not something I ever do.
How often do you guys do things that you don't really crazy about doing just to fill your books?
I am trying to take on such a limited, tiny niche of like surreal work right now that like my manager really, she filters everything. So by the time I see somebody for a consultation, it's totally like right down my alley.
Yeah. And I don't
but
take
years
on anything.
past, one of the things that's a struggle for me is like, let's say I work on a husband. I work on a guy. I do like 2 sleeves on him. All of a sudden, wife wants a sleeve. But what wife wants is not what I do whatsoever. But she doesn't trust anybody after I did all the work on her husband. So like sometimes that puts me in an awkward situation where it's like, I mean, I like you as a person. I want to work on you, but like, could we do something that like is my style? Oh, but your heart's really set on this thing that I don't do, but you only trust me.
Yeah.
That's a conundrum.
Yeah, those tend to be the most uphill tattoos too. And the tattoos that are the hardest for me are those ones that I'm just not like, I don't know, because there's like super stoked for me. And that's most tattoos that I get into. And then it's like, I don't know, when I'm not super stoked, it can just be such a more uphill battle drawing it. And I always try to find like that excitement about every tattoo. And I want that excitement. And like I build that excitement when I'm talking to my client, we're building ideas and all that. But yeah, I just don't like being in that position of doing something I know is not going to be my best work. I do try to draw tattoos like I would get them tattooed. Like if I think this is cool enough to tattoo on me, like, no, I wouldn't get this idea. I don't want this particular.
But if I were to get this idea, this is how I would want it.
Right. Has this got some solid flow? Is it a badass dynamic design? Or is it something that's, you're just pumping it out to do the tattoo that they want? And if it's the latter, I try to fix that. It's time to do another sketch. It's time to, not take it on if I don't want to. But your question, Ed, I would say, I would say 1 out of 15 tattoos I say kind of like I'm stoked about as opposed to super stoked. So just like maybe a little bit less stoked. I try not to take on anything with that I'm just not good. I just don't want to do, because someone, if I have those feelings, like I don't really want to do it. There are the things like she was talking about. I just did a sleeve on a guy, and his wife wanted just a smaller tattoo, and I didn't mind doing it at all. It was just, I knew it was going to be quick, probably take longer to set up than it would to actually do the piece. It's not something I normally would have taken on because most people just don't want to wait as long as they have to get in, with me to get a smaller piece like that. But, because I'll build this little relationship kind of thing, we're all talking to each other and we're all like friends now. I was like, all right, this can be quick. There's no reason why I can't do this small little thing. I know it's going to be so quick.
But if she would have been
so sometimes there's those, but
if she
like,
would have
I'm not
gone
going to
from
take on a project.
I love the Polynesian work you did on my husband. It's great. I love it. It flows beautifully. Can you build a full color landscape on my thigh?
I'd stop and I had to double take for a second. And
I
then,
feel like my conversations go the opposite way. Like, I love this landscape you built, but could you do this thing that's not anything to
Right?
do with a
I've been
landscape?
really thinking about portraits.
If you caught me 6 years ago, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, definitely get things like that. But I don't know. I'm getting not taking those types of projects.
Like within our team usually, because, like,
Yeah, there's always someone in our team that's going to want
Yeah.
to take on a project if one person doesn't.
Yep.
Ed, you still there? You're frozen again.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm here.
there he
I
is.
hear you.
I saw you blink.
Unstable internet connection, it's saying.
Yeah, I probably have everybody in my house using the internet right now. So
It's all right. It's all right. It's working out fine. It's working out fine. So we've been at about 2 hours already. Is there anything you can think of that we haven't talked about that you would like to talk about, Ed?
Well, oh, collabs. Because collabs right now seem to be one of the hot things. It's
I
like,
could talk collabs all day.
yeah, it's I had talked collabs a couple of years ago, but again, they weren't out there so much. Now it just seems like social media right now is really, people are buying into it more and more, and artists are buying into it more
Yeah.
and more, and they're seeing how much fun it could be. Yeah, I mean, they've been around forever, but just like a friend of mine started Ink Collabs, the IG account,
hmm
and that's been gaining steam. And he actually just posted in his stories asking, for suggestions. Who do you want to see collab? And they were naming all kinds of artists, from Michael Perry to,
That's really cool.
yeah, like all kinds of people. And, artists have been retagging and reposting that stuff saying, oh my God, this would be insane. Let's do this. And now it's like, I want to see where this goes. Cause it's, I think people, again, they're not getting to see people as much with the pandemic. And, when people start coming out, and they're going to be wanting to, in droves, just seeing each other and trying to figure out what collabs they can do, and just come up, because they're doing their own art all the time. They're like, well, let's try to blend and see what we can do. So that's to me, it's fascinating. Like, I had a collab, and I told you it was brutal to sit through. And a guy just got a piece done by Michael Perry, Robbie Latos, and Jacob Sheffield.
hmm
And he said it was brutal. It was one of the toughest. It was a 2-day sit.
I don't know if I could handle 3 people on me at once. 2 is a challenge, and I've stepped up to that plate a few times. But I don't know if I could handle 3. Stepped up to 3.
That's what she said.
That's what she said. 3's a 3. Oh, this is going
I
to sound
don't know if
filthy.
I can handle
3
3 at
men
once.
penetrating me at the same time with their machine is a bit much for anybody to handle.
It's just as sexual still.
Awful. Awful. We've definitely talked about collabs before, and one of the things that I think is magic about any collaborative piece of art is that it takes almost like a lightning strike of the idea, and then also like the work to make any piece of art happen, any new thing that didn't exist before. But when you get 2 people's imaginations, and then 3 if you count the collector too, that's like a lightning spark that could never happen under any circumstances ever again. So it makes it that much more special and rare. And I love all of my collection, but my Adam and Ty collab, it just like made me love collaborative pieces even more. Like,
it's something that you could only have if those 2 minds come together.
Mhm.
It can only exist unless those 2 people. So now it's almost like 2 people pressing like the nuclear button at the same time. It can only happen if those 2 things come together at the perfect time to make that
it's
happen.
like the ingredients.
It's not like one
for
person can
anything.
just choose,
It's
oh
just-
yeah, I'm going to draw a collab. It's like, no, you actually have to have somebody else. So there just has to have that collaboration. I don't know. There's
Mhm.
something sacred about that. I think it's so cool and
Yep.
special.
And then it's the best way for artists, for tattooers to like trade tricks and learn from each other. Like, there is no better way to both demonstrate processes and like borrow tricks from each other than like having your hands on the same body and feeling like the way each other moves. Like there are really, really subtle things that people do with tattoo machines that like you can't put it into words, but once you see it and once you feel it, you understand. Well, as a tattooer, you understand it. As a collector, maybe not, but there are just like things that you can only learn from being 4 inches away from another artist while they're working.
Mhm.
So like you've got all of that imagination going on, but then you've got the transfer of knowledge from one artist to the other while it's happening, which they're both going to walk away from this project even better. Like it's probably going to be the best thing that they've ever done to this point, and then they're going to walk away even better than when they started this project. And I think that's really cool. Like no artist walks away from a collaboration and they're like, well, I'm worse off than I started. No, you're gonna have new tricks in your tool belt, and you're gonna be that more proficient of an artist afterwards.
So like he put his elbow in me the whole entire time.
Yep.
Cover-
As a collector, it's
Even with the paintings that
the most
you and
special.
I have done, the collaborations with the paintings that we've done, I've learned so much just off seeing another artist in general work. And like
But
the
neither
same
one of us
types
could have made
styles
either
that,
of
like,
those on our own.
Right. So it's like watching you do something that like I'm trying to do and seeing the way that you would do it. And then like, I don't know, that back and forth of that was just, you learn so much. I can only imagine, doing that, with just amazing artists. I've done one tattoo collaboration so far, and we kind of had our separate things in different areas as opposed to kind of something we were going back and forth on.
Bouncing back and
But
forth.
I learned so much from that collab that I was doing with him. My buddy Nick Mann, our old buddy and coworker Nick Mann, out in Sacred Expressions, Michigan. He's awesome. A lot of anime tattoos. But he did this big like geo water, really painterly like wolf thing, and then I did a big butt mandala above it that all kind of warped into it, and some cool flowy lines that moved into it. But yeah, I learned a lot just from that. But I think if I was able to like mesh together those pieces, the learning would just be exponential as an artist, just like it was with the painting.
My client the other day, Cam, he's down and serious about us collabing on his belly. We've talked about ideas a little bit, and I think what he's imagining is like some geometric graffiti, like what Core did, coming out of the spray can. So it'll be another probably crazy glass inspired character, and then like geometric daydream coming out of the spray can. Nice. So that's where like I know when he says a spray can graffiti, we're like, huh? But like he wants it to be like fractaled, crazy daydream, like Core stuff where it's like angular everywhere. And but yeah, right. It's going to be a crazy.
We'll have to sit down on their consultation day.
Yeah, it's probably going to take like an hour of just sitting with Cameron and hearing his ideas. And like I've been working on him for years, and it's still like, okay, hold on, tell me the background behind this idea. Tell me more. Okay.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah, I don't think I mean, I'm already, thinking about another collab, but it's going to be tough, but I can't. 10 hours would be too much again. I could probably handle a few hours of it. That's why.
My chest, we did my chest in 3 sittings, and they were like 5 to like 6.5 hour sittings each.
Both at the same time?
The chest was awful having 2 people work on me at once. But like after that, like my fear of other tattoos is kind of gone. Like even my back, even the brutal sessions on my back and my cheekies, it wasn't worse than having 2 people work on me, one on my collarbones and the other in the armpit breast area, and then switching. Like it, brutal. Yeah, those were the most punishing sessions for me. I mean, I feel like I went through the most growth in those sessions. I feel like I learned the most about myself in those sessions. But 2 people on my chest versus 2 people on my leg, world of difference. It wasn't even until like hour 8 that I hit that wall at about 5.5 hours where it's like, I'm exhausted. I need to eat something. I need some caffeine. I need to smoke some weed. So we took our dinner break, and then we sat down and powered back through, and it was 9.5 hours, and Russ and Tofi were both working the whole time, like simultaneously. But up until like that last hour of the day, it was like, it sucked, but it was tolerable, where I would never have the stamina to sit that long with 2 artists on my chest. Maybe 1, but not 2. So the chest is scary with 2 artists.
Oh, I bet. That just sounds like torture.
Yeah, it exactly was, for sure. But like it opened up this whole portal to me that like my whole spirit flew through. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah,
Guy calls them pain flowers. I called it like pain DMT trip.
really?
But
psychedelic pain.
yeah, yes, psychedelic pain for sure. I mean, it was beautiful. It was, like I said, incredibly transformative. Like I walked away. My second session on my chest was the most brutal, but I walked away from that session a different person than when I sat down in that chair. Like,
Yeah. Wow.
totally changed me.
Yeah, I hear you. It's pretty much the same for me when I was getting the work done. Like if I could get through this, I could get through anything.
Mhm.
And it's just stretched from there. Like now, like I don't fear the spots that most people would fear when you look at those pain tolerant spots, and you're like, that's okay. Nothing's like that.
I've been through
Nothing's like
worse.
that.
You've had
That's
it.
all
You've
right.
had it as bad as it's gonna get, you know. So it's like you know what to expect every time.
That's fine. I'm like, man, I don't want to get my feet done. The skin's too thin. I'm afraid to get my feet done.
The more I get tattooed, the less I want to get some of the bad areas tattooed. So
Yeah.
like my feet, I want to get my feet tattooed a lot less now. I want them done because I know that like bio feet on or like bio feet, yeah, bio
Bio
tattoos on feet, organics, mecha organic looks so nice. It looks
You're halfway
so
to
good.
robot legs anyways.
There's so many. Just watch the way the tendons come
These-
up, the
these-
little crevices that can be created. Oh man, especially like the feet that Adam does, like your leg and stuff. Like, oh man.
Do you know, oh man, I just draw a blank. I can't think of his real name right now, but his Instagram handle is Raptor Laser.
Oh yeah.
The dinosaur feet that he did on the guy's feet. You're going to end up with robotic dinosaur feet on your feet.
Nice.
I think that's the next level, Jordan.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, that's
Robot
cool.
dinosaur feet.
Until I can actually have real robot dinosaur feet. It's coming. Neuralink, man. Upload me. Put me in a robot body.
You walk around with those feet in the hands.
I would do it.
It'd be good.
I would
It'd be
do
good.
it.
We get through it.
So I ask everyone, it's going to be completely off topic, but do you believe in aliens? Do you think they could be up there, or do you think we're the only life in the universe?
Yeah, I wouldn't discount it. I just, we haven't seen any technology that would, from our end that would make sense that they were here. But like, do I believe they visited here? No.
No.
I believe there's life out there for sure, but I don't believe
once
they
we're
were
off
here.
air, Jordan's going to send you a whole bunch of links so you can realize all the new stuff that's being released. He wants everybody to know.
I ask everyone because this year's been crazy. They've been releasing all the real documents of it, like the CIA and the FBI and NASA and stuff. They're just in the Pentagon. They're completely open about it now, and they've found all sorts of crafts and things, and they're actually reverse engineering them now. And it's not like conspiracy stuff. It's like, hey, these are the things that we have, the off-world vehicles.
What if
I just read a
they're
big
not
article.
space
I
travelers?
read a big article yesterday that
but
says
time
we
travelers.
we do have the technology, and it was a Scientific America, and it was about crafts that could go underwater, in the sky, and space.
Okay.
So basically, the Tic Tac UFO that David Fravor was seeing. So I want to learn more about that, and that was straight from Scientific America writing about this, on how we have patents on these vehicles that can do that so far, or someone created the patents, and now they're trying to research more if this is legit. But
I'm
this
gonna
guy
have to do a little bit
this
more
guy has
homework on
been
this.
hired for it, so I'm curious to see where that goes. So there's some weird stuff going on. I don't know if it's aliens. I think we got some cool technology that's about to come out. Is what
It's
I
like
think.
asking if wormholes are real. Like you can jump hyperspace.
Right?
I think so. I don't think we'll be able to experience it, but I think
it's
all
so
of these
it's so
things are
wild and
possible.
it's so out there, but the technology that like this would do that. Wouldn't necessarily create a wormhole, but be able to engineer the fabric of space-time and be able to move infinitely fast.
Yeah.
Which is wild. I just like the idea of it. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's not. I just like thinking about that stuff.
No, it is neat. It is neat. Yeah. That's a little far-fetched for me.
That's yeah, right. Got to ask everyone though. I want to know who it's far-fetched to and who it's not.
Yeah.
It's almost like if ghosts are real, You have to
It's
experience.
far-fetched unless right, exactly. Once you've had an experience, it changes a lot.
Is that your
Changes a lot.
poltergeist?
Yep, this is our
That's how we contact them.
yeah, this keeps the technology demons away.
Nice. Static.
Oh, sweet, man. What a good podcast. This has been awesome talking to you, man. You got an amazing collection. You've been awesome. This has been great.
I'd love to have you back on once you get a few more sessions in. I find that it's helpful to talk like immediately after sessions, because I feel like when our heads are still like in recovery, you know how sometimes you have that PTSD right after a session. Those are the times that I think it's most helpful to talk to people, because like all the mental tools that you use to like get through the session, they're all still so fresh, and I feel like those are the times that it's easiest for me to share helpful things with other tattooers, when it's fresh on my soul.
Yeah.
Yep. I feel that.
No. Yeah, it's like the last when last year I had to do my inner thigh and my kneecap. We wound up doing it all in the same session, and it was actually one of the easiest sessions I ever had. So it was like, you don't know where you're at until you actually go through it. And that was freaking me out. Never had my knee done and high upper thigh. It was like, don't really want that. But
a lot of people, I think, get worried about the thigh, like the inner and upper thigh, but it's really not a bad area to be tattooed. I think the whole upper legs are probably some of the easier areas of the body. I mean, unless you're doing a collab with 2 artists for 10 hours, that kind of sucks, no matter what part of the body it is.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, hopefully the next time I'll have my arm done and be working on my other ribs. Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for joining us. And it was kind of last minute too. So I appreciate it even more that you were able to join us. We had some technology demons early in the show, but our plasma ball buddy kept them away the rest of the day.
Ate them up. How can people find you, Ed? What's your Instagram?
My Instagram is Ed Levermore.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah. So I do that, and I'll be launching a Tattoo Armor very soon. So
nice. So that's your product. That's your product.
Yeah, it was actually created by Torsten Malm over in Europe, and they've been on sale in Europe for over a year now. And yeah,
nice.
So I'm
bringing it over here.
Yeah, I'm bringing it over here with them. So cool. Yeah. So I've been tagging and posting some stuff. You can always check out on my page.
You got an Instagram or anything for it yet?
Yeah, it's Tattoo Armor _USA.
Okay.
Cool.
Sweet.
Yeah, so that'll be going live soon. Yeah, and I'll send you guys samples for sure. So you guys can try it out.
I was actually going to say, once we were off the air, send us some samples and we could share them with Derb too.
Yeah.
Because we're connected to the whole supply company.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I'd love to. And I know you'll enjoy it because it gives a whole, different aspect to the healing, as we talked about earlier. So it gives some flexibility.
Well, cool, man. Thank you so much for your time. I definitely look forward to talking to you again. I think this was fun. And I think next time, usually like when we have our second or third talk, we all know what to expect and the conversations get a little bit looser and more fun. So
yeah.
I think this has been a great show today. So thank you. Thank you. Anybody who's still listening with us, thank you for joining us. You can find Jordan and I and all of our videos at tattoocollecting.com.
Yes, tattoocollecting.com. And if you are looking to get tattooed by either Fawn or I, you can find Fawn at
fawnbaker.com.
fawnbaker.com and me at jordanrookistattoo.com, or check out my Instagram, Jordan Rookus Tattoo.
All right, guys. Sandy, did you have anything you needed to throw at the end? Upcoming shows or anything?
Let everybody know about some upcoming events this week. So we have our usual Reinventing Drawing Groups. That's happening on Sunday and Monday. Sunday at 1 p.m., Monday at 9 a.m., all in Eastern Standard Time. Tony Urbanek is continuing his machine building, which is pretty cool. That's on Tuesday. Also on Tuesday is a Spanish-speaking art group with Bruno Salvatierra. And the next day, 10 a.m. The World Tattoo Events is interviewing Bajay Stretha. And then for Italian speaking people, March 3rd, we're having another art jam with Stefano Fabretti. So we're starting to have some more languages coming in, which is pretty sweet.
Awesome.
But yeah.
Well, that's all super cool. Everyone check all that stuff out. Definitely gonna be fun. I'm gonna try to do whatever I can.
Playing with the new equipment while we're about to sign off.
Well, sweet, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. If you've made it this far, you are the reason why we do this. Thank you.